All right, and welcome to episode 101 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network. That is the new official title for the show, rebranding and dropping our old one. Kind of just doing a clean break as we start over with technically episode 1, but I didn't want to lose count of it because getting to 100 takes a while. So 101 is where we will stand. We all shall learn something new today, mostly just how nerdy we all are. But joining me in this new endeavor of the same old endeavor, we have Rachel, who is, I guess we could make the joke. I don't want to make the joke. Just really warm right now because her AC is dead.
My AC is dead. I'm not dead, but I might be. It's hot.
I was gonna say like she's hot in a way she doesn't like, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna sound weird. I'm just gonna let that go.
You made it weird.
I know I did.
It's all right. We're all nerds here. We're all awkward. What can I say?
And then sitting there chilling out with a cat behind him, like the most relaxed evil villain, Steven.
Like that new game smell.
And last but not least, oh my God, his camera's on.
Hello, my name is Kevin.
I was about to say, it's Dr. Claw.
Oh, no, it's me.
It's Dr. Claw.
I'm here. I'll get you, gadget.
See, he really did it.
There you go. Yes,
it's
me, Chris.
Quickly,
I
everyone go out and buy. Everyone go out and buy a lotto ticket.
I got to see it earlier than this, but we waited till now to actually reveal his face. But yes, all four of us are here. All four of us are visible. And here we are. So we're going to go ahead and jump into what we've been up to as we start this off now. And Rachel, we're going to go and start with you. What have you been up to?
Absolutely nothing.
Awesome.
Nothing gaming wise. I haven't been doing much of anything. I'm very busy at work right now. So by the time I get home, I'm just like, I'm going to read or watch something on TV. I will say I have been rewatching Bones from the beginning, which is a really good rewatch. And also, guys, this is just a PSA for everybody that is kind of, really feeling it in this strike situation. Now is the time to rewatch or watch for the first time series that you never watched before. So if you've never watched Bones, watch Bones. Watch like literally all those shows that your friends recommended to you and you never watched them. Watch them now.
I'm gonna go see Willow.
Yeah, there's so many things. There's so many things that you can watch. Like my favorite show on television, American television anyway, celebrated its
on Infinity Train.
Celebrated its 18th birthday the other day, and I literally told my friend, I said, listen, if you start now and watch one episode a day of this show, it will last you until like October of next year. And then they go, do you think the strikes will be done by then? And I go, well, I hope so, but you'll have something to occupy your time with. So that's what I've been doing, is rewatching old shows.
Well, officially, we're not quite to the longest period they've had prior on a strike. So we're still going on that.
As long as the number of days does not match the number of One Piece episodes, I think we'll be good.
I think we'll be okay. You're right. But mainly I've just been, at the theme parks, doing things and having fun because, it's spooky season and I am very spooky and I love it. So
it's very spooky in September.
You are.
Yes.
Now, Rachel, there actually was one other thing you've been working on we have not brought up yet.
No,
and
you're right.
While we don't have it as part of the show, Rachel is working with me as well to get our new logo for the Zenspath Entertainment Network going as well. So
yeah,
she's taking her time. She's a very busy person, but we will get to it eventually. But yeah.
Hopefully soon.
We need Chris to give his best baritone. This is ZEN.
In time.
Ooh, that's
Good
exciting.
Lord. All right. Well, Steven, what have you been up to?
Well, the first thing I got into was that the TMNT Shell Shock DLC. I had some questions of how online worked and such, and Chris and I found out that levels do not carry over. It's a separate little beast.
Right.
So that's been a lot of fun, but you will die quickly. but there's some nice new things. I won't spoil it for people, but you don't just get to play as the 2 new characters, which is very neat. Jumping into what this week's announcements have brought me, so many demos. Some I haven't even gotten to yet because they're RPGs or they're visual novels, and those demos usually give you a lot of content and then it carries over. So I was like, I'm not gonna have time for that right now. I did try Gunbrella, which is kind of like if you took your game, what was it, Neon Abyss,
Mm-hmm.
and you mixed it with, say, something more like Braid or Bioshock. It just takes the same exact gameplay of Neon Abyss, but puts it in kind of just like a down, depressing era. It's weird, but
Interesting.
fun. I've been playing through that. I played through the Steam darling that came to Switch, Dave the Diver, where you dive for fish that you then bring up to the surface to sell to a sushi restaurant with your buddies.
That game actually looks kind of cool. It's been on Steam for a little bit,
Yes.
and I've heard pretty good things. It was recommended to me by a friend of mine, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I will actually try this out." I don't
It's
know.
been one of those indie media darlings that I've been hearing
Yeah,
about a
so
lot
far,
recently.
every game I'm mentioning that I've been doing are all like pixel paradises so far. So TMNT,
2D
Umbrella,
forever.
Dave the Diver, and lastly, because it's back, and I hope it lasts, well, not back, but I hope because we have a return to form after 30 years that this doesn't get discontinued like Pac-Man did, is F-Zero 99. It is chaotic, but it is wonderful, and it is a blast to play, and it is a blast to die.
Literally. All right. Chris, what have you been up to?
I have been on a racing spree lately. I bought Horizon Chase 2, which looks okay, but you can pretty much tell that it was on Stadia before because
Oh, really?
it is a little choppy, and I don't know if this was deliberate or not,
Mhm.
but it keeps asking me to join the Epic Games Store, and I refuse. So,
What are you playing it on?
Switch.
Okay, well, I'm
It
sure
is
it's
the
also on
last,
PC, I think.
That's
but
what I thought was weird too. It's like, why is it asking you to join Epic Game Store on Switch?
it says it's required. I refuse. I'm just going to play it like it is, and then when it tells me to stop, I'm going to try for a refund. But aside from that, I've also been playing F-Zero 99. I never owned a Super Nintendo, so this is the first time I'm actually playing F-Zero. The 99 thing is really fun. I also like it when a player dies, when they crash out, their crater is left with a little marker of their name. It's like, this used to be Mineburger. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And also, I've been playing, what was it? The Mario Kart DLC courses. There's what, 2 left? I never played the last 2. So they're fun. I'm enjoying them.
we have 6 courses left. 1 DLC pack later this year, which we'll talk about.
The way to summon me is to ask me to play Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask now that we can actually stream and get all of us on Discord and do this. Why the hell have we not had a 4-player Mario Kart night?
Let's do it. I will kick your ass.
Because I like winning. I like winning against computers. It makes me feel like a big man. If I have to play against other people, I'll know how much I suck.
I think Rachel just threatened us.
Let's go. No, listen, my Mario Kart prowess became so well known in the Grit Show Discord server that they made a meme comic of me of the, has anyone seen Rachel? And then they go, oh, hold on, I got this. Who wants to play some Mario Kart? Bust through the wall. Let's go. I'll kick all your butts.
Oh Lord.
So no,
okay, this is happening now. I feel like I have been challenged.
Mario Kart. It's very fun. I enjoy it.
But
we'll talk about that later because it was in the Nintendo thing. So
yes,
I will say, Chris, that I meant to show you, but the original artist for F-Zero actually tweeted to Nintendo with a new drawing saying thank you because because nobody told him. So when he get revived, he got so happy he drew a crying Captain Falcon saying thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Listen,
definitely.
if this gets F-Zero back in the limelight enough, so we get a proper F-Zero game. Not that this one is not proper, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No,
a new
save
continuation.
it for the
Yes.
next system, Nintendo, please.
Because I'm like, man, a high speed like 3D F-Zero game. Let's go.
I mean, GX was a good way to kind of end that part of it, but like I want to have more of that. It was
I
such
want
a
more.
good game.
Yeah.
I still F-Zero X is still my favorite though, I think. The N64 one. I
Yeah,
did really
and-
enjoy that one.
And I
like
told them
the
if they
look
did
of
a
it, too.
DLC pack or something like they did with Pac-Man where it changes the graphics, I'd be all for an F-Zero X like upgrade to 99 for like 1 week only or something. I missed the tube. That would just be chaos of 40 people, so I want that.
Oh, trying to go around. Oh god. Yeah, that would be terrifying. All right, so of course I'm still playing Starfield. I've taken a couple days break on it when I've officially passed the 48 hours played mark on this game because I have not been sucked into a game this much in a long time. But I did manage to find like Space Batman. So I have this lovely like Space Batman type suit that I ended up sticking on my now wife because I ended up getting married in the game. I got the ship that was found there that's like their Batmobile. They have their own little like space station bat cave type thing. It's a whole story part for the Mantis. So if you find a mission on some of the pirates that's talking about a secret base, follow it. There's some good stuff. It's difficult.
But did you find the magic school bus?
Not yet. I have not found the magic school bus yet. I did find multiple references back to Skyrim in the funniest ways, including one
I was
guy.
thinking about some of those. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the obvious ones, like one of the skills that you get for shooting limbs. Every level of an ability has like a patch artwork, and the first one shows a knee with something coming towards it, and then it's an arrow coming at it, and then the highest ranking is the arrow straight through the knee. And I was like, okay, I see what you did there.
Yeah, some of the guys when you talk to them say I used to be an explorer like you, but it's a long story.
Yeah, I think I showed you the clip of that one where it popped up saying that, and I was like,
Other people
here.
have found almost verbatim quotes taken from Ghostbusters.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't found those yet. That I will be so happy to see that. This game, like, I know people are so negative about it, but it has been so much fun just exploring the random craziness of what you can find. And I found a lot of very angry cockroaches. Very large, angry cockroaches. Oh my god. That they were pissed. But I downloaded the update for it, so I'm going to be trying that again. And then next time we stream this, we have the rule where I have to eat everything that I find. Well, now they've added in an eat button, so if I see it, I can just eat it immediately.
The best update ever,
right? So that's just going to make my food and drunkenness that much worse. So thanks, guys, for starting that. Nez will be forever scarred from this. And then also, I have been playing F-Zero 99. Started it today. It controlled a little weird using the analog stick. I was just playing it on my Switch, but I did go and dig out my actual Super Nintendo Switch controller. So I will be using this to play it tonight because this just feels right. The D-pad probably works better because I that's just how I want to play it. Yeah, these 99 games have been interesting. I hate the fact that they go away after a while. Like Mario 35, I thought was great. I absolutely loved playing that, and I hate the fact they got rid of it after the 35th anniversary.
Tetris stayed at least.
Tetris stayed. Tetris got a physical copy, so like I own it. Like, at least that's got an actual game. It may eventually lose the 99 online part, but at least I can play it. But Pac-Man, I think Pac-Man's already gone away.
Pac-Man's got till the end of the month, I think, or a little bit past that. But the problem with that is you never knew why you were winning or losing.
That's true. It was kind of weird. But
it was very frantic.
I liked the fact that they were like, hey, battle royales are popular. Let's find weird ways to do them. And I'm cool with that.
Party 99.
You know what? You laugh. I would probably play that. There'd be so many people hurt by having to rotate joysticks. Like half the group would just be like, I quit. I'm out. children everywhere injured by a game again. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the news. I need to find new sound effects.
Stop! I love that.
I've got all kinds of stuff. Like we've got the little. Mostly GameCube, a little bit of Dreamcast. I need to find better menu sounds.
Anytime you play like GameCube noises, that is like, I'm like, yes, because I love the GameCube.
I was going to do some of like the Game Boy startup, but it was such a high pitched bling. I was like, okay, no, that's going to annoy somebody, especially if somebody just starts spamming it. But unlike the Discord, I have the only control over the sounds, so Steven can't just start playing sounds all the time.
Shoot him, kill him.
Yeah, that.
Wait.
Space. Yeah. We keep referencing when we streamed on twitch.tv/Zenspath. Go watch that. We were playing Starfield with the Do As I'm Told edition, where as my character Nez, opposite of my normal one Zen, I had to do everything these three told me to do. And it was chaotic, to say the least. And then it whittled down to just Steven and, Rachel came up with the idea of I have to eat everything. Yeah. Nuts. All right. So starting off the first little bit, talking about our art for the logo that we've got coming out. I'm going to go ahead and issue an apology ahead of time because I kind of screwed up on a personal basis. My friend Brent, we're using some parts of the old artwork that we had for older shows, even before the 4-button show. And I made the assumption, like an idiot, I didn't think Brent still had the piece of artwork. So I grabbed one and gave it to Rachel. I was like, hey, we're going to use these parts of it to do this. Didn't think anything of that. My mistake, which this is mine, I fucked up. I didn't ask Brent and just see if he had it ahead of time. Could have just asked him. So he just felt it was somebody else copying his artwork because he has had the problem of, and not to the same degree of what we're doing, of actually stealing his artwork. So he gave me
that is every artist's problem.
Yeah, but he did give me. He gave me his blessing, gave me the PSD file that had the original part of this bit of the logo we're going to use. So he has written off on us doing that, but it's still on me that I did not ask him and I screwed up with that. And I'm apologizing for that because that's just wrong from one artist to another, from everything else. That's my bad. So getting that out of the way. So at least that's known. But we played around with the name itself for a little while. We were going to have it as what was it? Zenspath Media Meditation for a little bit, and we just could not think of art for it.
Namaste.
Yeah, namaste. Which, Chris, that was your idea. That we tried to run with that one. But Rachel and I just could not think of any artwork for it. And then I made the Zenspath Entertainment Noise as a joke, just to have for Zen. And Steven is the one that popped up as Zenspath Entertainment Network. Because as soon as I made that joke, Rachel's like, wait, we're onto something here.
Listen, I'm just one of those people that I'm like, hold on, pause. This is actually something.
Yeah,
don't throw it away.
If you Google it, I'm that guy with the chicken on his head saying, everybody shut the fuck up. I'm trying to think.
So the new title, the artwork, everything has been a group collaboration with everybody. So I am saying thank you to all of you for the work on this. But this new title will encompass the show, not just for the podcast, but our streams that we do over on Twitch. It'll be all of our other side projects that we decide to do over the times, or whatever other projects we end up doing as an actual network of all this stuff together. And also, if you guys end up doing something, if you want to have it under that same umbrella, it's an attachment we can have for that and go from there. So, yay. So, awesome. Just wanted to kind of clarify some of that stuff at the beginning of the show, because we've made news of our own this time. We're news! Yay!
Huzzah!
Is this our moment of Zen, TM?
We're about to get sued. Good job. All right, so let's go into the weird, more Switch 2 speculation that we're coming up based around Gamescom. So we kind of mentioned this before, that the system was shown off behind closed doors a little bit, but some of the features are getting a little crazy, and some of these are reported by different people. And I just wanted to touch on the insanity of what this could even remotely be, and why some of it I kind of actually believe could be possible. So ray tracing apparently is going to be a feature in this.
Oh, Minecraft.
Yeah, swear to God, if the Switch 2 gets Minecraft with ray tracing before the Series X does, I'm done. I will be so confused and angry at the same time. I'll be holding this thing going, like, looking at my Series X going, why can't you do this? I'm disappointed in you.
I'm reading like the speculation notes that you have here, and I'm like, well, what is it going to do next? Take off in flight? Is it going to levitate?
Well, okay, so it's reported to have 12 gigs of RAM, which Series X...
a lot for a handheld.
Well, Series X and PS5 have 16 gigs, while Series S only has 10, so it's kind of an in-between there. It can run the Matrix Unreal 5 demo, because apparently that's one of the things that was shown off, along with ray tracing, they said. Now, this kind of makes me wonder if Nintendo has finally stepped away, because we're no longer in like the older Nintendo and the Iwata run and everything. This is a new, more corporate version that's doing, you know, the theme parks that we can't talk about, and the other things. So they may be more hands-off on the hardware design and letting NVIDIA directly influence this, which is why some of this kind of makes sense. If NVIDIA is guiding it, they can give them a more custom chip that can handle this stuff, because NVIDIA does ray tracing better than AMD does by far for a lot of the stuff recently, specifically with the GeForce cards.
Here's my question.
If
this is a Switch 2, and I put these in quotation marks.
I call it Super Switch.
Is it going to be backwards compatible with Switch games?
That is the rumor.
It better be.
It better be, because if it's not, I will be like, well, god dang, Nintendo.
What is it? It has a camera on it, and it's fully backwards compatible.
It's got a camera on it? Oh, God.
Going back to the DSi and 3DS, baby.
I'm sitting here going, it's like, I hate to say this, but the you know the controller things that you can put on the iPad?
Yeah.
It's got a camera on it.
It's
That's
like
true.
the Sony Portal.
Jesus Christ.
Like they're making a truly portable Wii U gamepad? It had a camera on it.
Like I was sitting here like that Sony Portal thing going into that when someone showed me that at work. I'm gonna say they literally like, Rachel, what do you think of this? And I said, well, they can't call it the PSP.
And they did.
Yeah.
It's a PSP-RP.
Yeah. It's not even truly a portable, because you still have to be within however many feet.
Yeah, it's a PSP with a big old asterisk on it, like it was using steroids or something.
Like Sony clarified, they were like, it's the PSP-RP because it's a PlayStation Portal remote play.
It's the PlayStation Tether.
It's like, hey, we took what we were doing with the Vita with the PS4, where you could play it remotely on your Vita, but we're gonna make it super powered thing.
I would have called it the PlayStation Hubris.
At least they didn't call it the PU, okay?
I still play my PSP. I love it. And
PSP was great.
It's a great
I
little console.
That's the best competition that has come for a Nintendo handheld. Mm-hmm. Period.
But here's the funny
thing.
PSP. Somewhere along the lines, they lost the plot.
Well, they started going back into their, affinity for their own proprietary formats, which this new PSP is a whole nother thing. But we're getting off topic of the Switch 2.
Yeah. Okay, back onto it. But yeah, no.
It is rumored to be backwards compatible, and I say it needs to be a minimum of, we'll say like DS to 3DS backwards compatibility, where the cartridge goes in, you can play it. It might scale it up a little bit. If that's the minimum, if it at least does that, that's good. If it can do enhancements, even better.
I'm telling you, I'm going to call it right here and now to see if I'm right. But okay. I think we're going to, in every single one, there's going to be like that little Super Game Boy looking adapter, so you can put your Switch game inside the bigger Switch 2 casing.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do an adapter. I don't think we're going to have those days anymore.
We're in those days right now with the iPhone 15.
I don't even want to get into that thing.
We're not talking about that.
That's too rich for our blood.
Oh man, truly it is. I say with my iPhone next to me.
I have an Android.
But no,
She's like dirty peasant.
Not
I have
really.
2 tin cans and a string.
I have 2 tin cans and a string.
He's a purist.
What was running on the Switch 2, Jeremy?
Oh, so what'd you say? What are they running on it?
I was like, what was running on it?
We already talked about the Matrix Unreal demo.
Well, they also did Breath of the Wild, didn't they?
Yes, which I originally reported as Tears of the Kingdom until Steven was like, "Hey, it was Breath of the Wild," and I was like,
I read
that wrong.
The other rumor, which is going to be kind of a, you're going to see why I'm mentioning it now later. But the other rumor is it was running Final Fantasy VII Remake like it was running on PS5 on reportedly the Switch 2, which makes me think if something that was recently mentioned is only exclusive until a certain date, maybe that gives us a release window for the Switch 2.
I'm gonna put that rumor kind of outside of general reality, but we'll get to that one. But the reason I was saying that some of this I think could be possible, like the whole thing of it running PS5 and Series X as those pieces of hardware, that's bullshit. That's not going to happen. Now, having ray tracing can be possible. My Steam Deck has ray tracing, and I can use that on certain games. NVIDIA can build that stuff into it if they're, when you make a portable that's not running an OS like a normal console, you can really tunnel down to the metal, or code to the metal, as they say, and get better performance out of lesser hardware. NVIDIA also is apparently putting the newer DLSS 3.0 in this so that they could render a game out at 1080p 60, which would be believable on portable hardware Nintendo would have, but then upscale to like 4K using DLSS. And that might be a feature that's added hardware in the dock itself, which they might actually, I could see Nintendo doing that and functioning the dock beyond it just being a connector. Maybe they could have that extra hardware or that feature saved for that point if it has one. So I don't know. I'm kind of crazy. I love the fact that we're in this crazy speculation time of new Nintendo hardware, because you never know what you're going to get, and no matter what we think of, it's gonna be weirder.
We're gonna be wrong no matter what.
Right.
But it's a fun wrong.
Yeah, because you're just like, wait, they did what now? Because I remember the speculation on like, what is the Wii gonna be? Like that whole thing. Like that was the craziest time ever, because they showed us the system eventually, and they're talking about what the controller is going to be like. And it was like a whole year of like 4-Color Rebellion and a bunch of other places I originally found. I've still got pictures of these where people came up with all these crazy controller ideas. And how many of them ended up being kind of close?
Those trailers where people are like diving behind their couches, shooting people?
those are official too. That's what's nuts.
And they're like, that's Red Steel. I was like, no, that's not Red Steel.
Oh God, I went back and replayed Red Steel not too long ago. Like it had such potential and it was fun, but boy, it is janky and weird sometimes. So yeah, that's our weird Switch speculation. I'll go around to the three of you and kind of see what is your level on any believability with this. And Rachel, I'll start with you because I know you look like you really wanted a facepalm on some of this.
Oh, with the Switch 2?
With what we have here of what are you like the 1 to 10 believability this could even be possible, with 10 being the highest, 1 being not happening.
I think the fact that there being a Switch 2, I think that's very possible.
Oh no, we know there's gonna be a Switch 2. They've already
like that very possible.
I'm talking about these graphical specs. Yeah,
12 gigs of RAM could go either here or there. It depends. Yeah. Especially with it being a quote unquote handheld.
I'm trying to remember how much a Steam Deck has.
Yeah, that's my question. I don't remember. Apparently running the Unreal 5 engine.
16 gigs.
I'm just like, so 12 gigs could be possible, but that I think all of this is only possible if what we've said at the end is true, which is NVIDIA being more directly involved.
Right.
I don't think that as much as I love Nintendo, I don't necessarily think that they could do this just on their own. Maybe like they have a lot, like they got a lot of money, but that's they. I think this is maybe a little bit out of their wheelhouse. So we'll see. I don't know. I'd say 7, a solid 7.
Okay, that's respectable amount.
Yeah.
Steven, what about you?
I was at a certain number until you made me until you wondered about the Steam Deck, so I just looked up the Rogue.
16 gigs. Yes.
I looked up the Rogue Ally, and the Rogue Ally has 16 gigs of RAM. So having 12 is super possible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Extremely possible. The only thing that I doubt, except for Breath of the Wild, running at better frame rate, better resolution,
Right.
is I still doubt the Matrix rumor, the Final Fantasy rumor, because like nobody else is really. They're just mentioning that really quick. They're not going in depth like they said. Like a bunch of people were shown Breath of the Wild, and then in my world, I would love if NVIDIA basically did all the prototypes, but Nintendo had final say, and then they put it through their QA, because we don't want melted SD cards. We don't want any. They already what was it? They already put out a patent though and trademarked the new analog sticks that are supposed to get rid of drift for good, because of how the analog sticks move, where it's not scraping against anything, it's moving in like a freer space.
It's a ferromagnetic fluid. I was like, that's a weird way of doing Hall effect
if anybody's going to try it first, it's Nintendo, because you got to remember, Nintendo invented the D-pad, the analog stick, rumble, 4 players. Like, they're like, we're going to have to be the first at something again. So that's just their attitude.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember, what did you say your rating number wise was?
So right now I'm putting all this believability except for the other stuff running at an 8. It would have been 9 if Final Fantasy 7 and Matrix were more believable, but with just Breath of the Wild, I'm at an 8.
Okay. Chris, what about you? What would you rate this as from a 1 to 10, or what are your thoughts on the believability of this?
I'm pretty skeptical, honestly, because
nothing wrong with that.
Nintendo has never been about the graphics. It's always been a second thing to whatever gimmick they want to pull out. Even for the, Wii U, which was basically just a modified GameCube. And, we can talk about what it can do in terms of processors and all that stuff, but in the end, it's just going to come up to whatever they do with the games themselves. I'm going to give this like a 7. They can speculate all they want, but it's going to come down to what they do with the power they have.
Okay. I would probably go with a 7 as well, because I do believe, like, if they were demoing the Final Fantasy stuff as a graphical showcase just to show it, or running the Matrix, I think for demo purposes, those would be possible. I mean, the Series S was running the Matrix stuff really well. Even on that one, which people are, calling lower hardware. NVIDIA has had a longer time. It's been almost 2 years since that came out, to refine it, do updates, make it work better and more efficiently on stuff so they could easily scale it better. Just like I'm sure launch Switches, nobody would have believed The Witcher ran on it, and then they had time to work on it, and boom, we got The Witcher, surprisingly well. So I think it will be possible, but I agree it's going to be how much do they hand over to NVIDIA to let them kind of steer the ship on what they need to get, and how much they listen to them versus the cost effectiveness. Because Nintendo's going to keep this where they can sell it without being at a loss, because they just don't do hardware that way. They used to be about the graphical stuff. The NES, the SNES, and the N64 and the GameCube were all made to be graphical powerhouses to compete with everything.
Reality.
Yeah. Because the GameCube did amazingly beautiful graphics. They just kind of hindered it with a smaller DVD drive, and they didn't focus on an online support like the others did. That's the biggest discrepancies. But you can't look at, what was it? Star Wars. What was the launch title? I'm blanking on the name.
Rogue Squadron?
Rogue Squadron 2. That game still looks good to this day. Like that system could put out some great stuff. But after that, when they did the Wii U and so forth, they had the mentality of using lesser hardware to make these experiences, which worked really well for some stuff and didn't. It's funny you mentioned the Wii U being a souped up GameCube, because that's literally all it was from a GameCube to the Wii U. Same chipset, just ramped up. So, I mean, that's how a lot of computers usually would do that. You get newer generations of the same hardware. So it's just kind of funny to me when you mentioned it.
I just want them to break the mold.
I honestly want them to continue with the Switch.
I want
give me something new, because
want it to, yes, have the Switch still have its handheld killer feature, but I want just pretty close console parity for once, so then it comes down to the games.
Yeah, I'm okay with them being lesser graphically for some of that stuff. That portability is the biggest takeaway for me for the Switch. Being able to take it, travel with it, and do those things puts it apart from other systems at any time. Like if they made a deal with Microsoft and they had a portable version of Starfield that was available on that thing, I would be so happy.
If the new one does not have shop music and themes, it's going to be a failure out of the box. Okay.
Listen, I love shop music. All the shop music was just kick ass.
Well, we'll get a third theme of gray, black, white, and gray. So, one thing that the new Switch might not have, because they may not be around anymore after this colossal, excuse my French, fuck up on their part, Unity, the lovely Unity engine, has made a random change to their charging system and how their subscriptions work. And they've introduced what they call a runtime fee. And this has sent ripples across the creative world for gaming. So, to give a general rundown, for Unity Personal or Unity Plus licenses, this runtime fee will kick in after a developer crosses both $200,000 in revenue over a 12-month period and 200,000 total lifetime installs. Mind you, all of this will be retroactive as well. So if a game came out, made that 200,000 in the first year, 5-6 years ago, they're going to be charged for whatever downloads they think they've gotten this whole time.
That makes Unity... no sense.
Oh yeah, it gets worse.
God forbid there's a Steam sale later on in the year.
Yeah, or a Humble Bundle or any of that. For Unity Pro or Unity Enterprise licenses, it will kick in after $1 million for a total 12-month period and passes of 1 million total installs. Afterwards, Unity Personal and Plus devs will have to pay a flat fee of 20 cents per install. Not per download, not per purchase, per install. So this would fall in like I Buy a Game, which we have a whole list of games that were made on this. So we'll start with Among Us. That's one that I have multiple times. I have it on my Switch. I have it on my PC, which is installed on this PC. It's installed on my Steam Deck. It's installed on my Surface. It's installed on another computer that I have because it was able to run it. I installed it on my son's computer so he could play it. That's 6 installs. I had it installed on my old Surface. That's 7 installs. I have it installed on my phone. That's 8. So that's 8 installs just for me. Just me. That I can think of. I'm sure there's probably more. So this could balloon out quickly for somebody, and also leaves open the possibility of malicious installs. So say somebody that is person of color, minority, or whatever, that's making a game, and somebody, because we've seen these crazy assholes that will throw a huge fit because they don't think that character should be there, or this type of person should be introduced in a game, or that type of person shouldn't be making a game. They can set up a script and just have it maliciously installing, we'll say nicely, 100 times a day.
Yeah, this is Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes worse.
Yeah, but now it's charging these developers that cost. So then you say you've got 1,000 of these people that are installing this game 100 times a day as a low number on that. They could bankrupt a company. Just, developers are looking at this stuff going, hey, here's the numbers of what we made for sales, but versus the amount that we had for installs. we're going to owe more than we've made on this game already because, we had it as free to play, and free to play downloads and installs count towards this, but they didn't make enough on the sales part of it to cover the downloads.
So I love that, like, this next bit, because you're talking about free to play. It's like developers can make free to play games can offset this fee by having to use Unity's level play advertising mediation services. So what? Their game's going to be filled with ads for Unity or ads that Unity from Unity partners and stuff like that. So not only are those partners making ad revenue on that, but Unity does as well, and the developers themselves may not see really anything at all. No revenue from it.
They did attempt some damage control, which didn't work, of course. It's about as useful as a Drew Barrymore apology, but they said, well, what if indie developers with Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, they said Microsoft and Sony would be charged, but then on the flip side, that would make them less likely to feature more indie games if they're going to have to pay right away or pay all that stuff.
So basically, if Unity doesn't change this, like if they are dead set on going through, there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of games removed from like download. Like I think the people who did Cult of the Lamb said, listen, you have until this particular date to download it, and then it's gone. Like,
they came back and said that was a joke, but it also
was facetious, but it also spread the word, kind of thing.
But
a lot of game companies are doing this.
The list he's going to go over in a little bit here, almost unanimously, all of them said all upcoming content we have is going to be delayed because we're not going to release it when a bunch of installs are going to come in and ruin us.
Yeah,
because in order to track this, they won't say how they're doing it. They're saying it's their own proprietary thing of how they're going to track whether or not a game, because pirated games count during this if they don't get rid of the install. So if someone steals your game and does this maliciously, you get nothing, but you're being charged.
So this also means so that means they're not saying how that they're doing this. That to me says that they have some type of like tracking it like in their code for Unity,
which was not agreed upon by these people in their terms of service. And they had a terms of service on GitHub that promised that no change to policy would retroactively be affected. They deleted the entire GitHub, got rid of all of the terms of services so they can make this change to now make it retroactive. So people have agreed to this that have had games out for years, millions of sales for some of these titles that we'll go over. I guarantee this is already going to be a pissing contest with Microsoft and Nintendo directly. Specifically Nintendo, because just a quick jaunt of a couple smaller games this will affect: Among Us, Fall Guys, Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
How many times has that been downloaded?
Untitled Goose Game, Goose on the Loose.
Untitled Goose Game, Cuphead, Beat Saber, which is insanely popular. Genshin Impact, Remy is Gonna Be Angry, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Kerbal Space Program, Death's Door, great game, by the way, play that. Hollow Knight, another fantastic game. Hearthstone, so guess what? You're getting after Valve now. And Cult of the Lamb. I added that one because of their message. I was like, they need to be on this list. And that's just a quick rundown I found.
There was one developer who actually said, we've never made a press release our entire life. You fucked up so bad, we came out of our caves to say you suck.
Yeah, so... Like, that said, I can already see developers going, if you haven't already started developing it and everything's still in planning stages, find another engine other than Unity, because we're not doing it.
That's what a lot of them are doing. And there's been other ones saying that even if they backed off and said none of this was going to happen, the damage is done. They do not trust them ever again to do this because they could just turn around and make another change later on, increasing the cost or doing whatever.
I could talk until I'm blue in the face about corporate greed. I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't know. I mean, listen, I know this is terrible, but humans, by their own nature, are greedy. We are greedy things.
Bastards.
But there are.
Why my kids eat all the Pop-Tarts. But
there is a point where that greed becomes too much, and this is. this is that point for them. And ooh, buddy, no,
Oh, the greed gets worse. I'm not
there's
done yet.
there's no. Oh, I'm looking at it. There is.
Oh no,
there
there's
is-
more. I haven't even added in here yet.
Oh my god, there's. But I will say there is no coming back from this for them.
Yeah,
Like,
there isn't even with their try to answer people's questions, which they didn't. They've had to cancel quite a lot of things, but they even said, "Oh, demos won't be affected either." But if you have unlock the full game as part of your demo, then it counts. So I was like, "Why do you have all these caveats?"
I think they're just trying to do the Wizards of the Coast thing and see how much they can get away with.
Maybe they're like, nobody remembers Unity, so let's just do something stupid. I don't know.
It also puts me in mind of what was it again? Hang on, I had it for a second and then it was lost. But you continue your train of thought.
So we're talking about greed on this. Like their stock tanked that day, bottomed out. It was a hell of a drop. But it's kind of funny. The day before and days prior, all the main CEOs have been selling off stock at a high amount without buying any stock into it. So there's a possibility people were bringing up insider trading. But apparently there's some loophole that they were legally allowed to do this, making millions of dollars, knowing they were about to kill it, but not telling other people working at Unity that they were going to do this. So they're stuck with now worthless stock options.
Well, we got to have that great PR speak.
That was yes,
just a coincidence, and the two instances are in no way related. Thank you.
Oh Lord.
You have a very great PR voice for that. It was nice and nasally. Like, good job.
A+, 10 out of 10.
Now
I was expecting you to ask for your stapler after that.
Ouch. This puts me in mind of Dota, Defense of the Ancients 2, and the whole thing with Valve, just trying to go, well, we originally did that, so I know you've completely made it different, but like our fingerprints are still in there, and we want all that money.
Well, it's like, wasn't it Blizzard that tried changing how their rules went so other games that were made in their engines or made with the modifying tools that they would have ownership?
Blizzard, yes.
Blizzard, yeah. Because
so you can't make a Dota 3 without Blizzard making money.
Yeah. Super happy that company's getting bought out.
You can't use the word monster.
They lost that case, by the way.
First.
They lost that case.
Yeah.
You can say monster now. We should have named it.
Monster.
Yeah, we're going to call this the Monster.
Monster Entertainment Monster.
Monster.
Soon to have our own cereal.
There you go.
Aww.
That's every 80s kid's dream, to have your own cereal.
Listen.
That and a special can of ravioli.
You know, they have a new monster styled cereal, right? You know, they got Count Chocula, the Frankenberry, and then now they have this like basically a almost like a Bride of Frankenstein one, but it's not Bride. It's actually like some zombie looking chick who's supposedly Frank's cousin. And I'm sitting here going, why did the creature from the Black Lagoon get the shaft? It's a green cereal,
right? Turn your milk green. Come on.
Me though is her name. It's caramel apple cereal. Her name is Carmelita Creeper. I don't like the idea of the word creeper.
Especially think bugs in an apple.
Explode.
Yeah, it's just bugs in an apple.
Why couldn't they just use creature from the Black Lagoon? The cereal is green.
I know.
Universal is hemorrhaging money.
We can't go into that one.
This is the hill I will die on.
Oh yeah, I agree. I would like to see the creature from the Black Lagoon.
He always gets the shaft, and it makes me sad. And I love him so much. Also, we need more Dracula content. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Darkstalkers 4.
Yes, I'm down for that.
Redfall 2, and you're gonna like it.
So a lot of developers, I'm seeing reports of like pretty much people were talking, saying like if you went to school and trained in Unity as part of your degree and everything in your skill set, it's basically become useless because nobody wants to touch Unity now because they don't like. A lot of companies have said like, we're going to finish this project and then we're dumping Unity. We're going to go to, Unreal,
literally
or some
anything
other.
else.
Yeah. They're trying all kinds of different ones just to get away from this because of how they change it. Cause they've salted the earth on this one. No matter what they come back for, it's done. They're going to have to get rid of the entire leadership for anyone to even begin to trust that they might still be good. But yeah, like teams that work on Unity are being replaced. Those have already started happening where teams are either going to have to learn a new program, or they're having to cut them to hire people that can work on these new programs just to continue it. Games that had DLC and content are being canceled or held off for the moment if they can get away with it. I know, like I said, Among Us, like we're going to see later in the show, they had an announcement for a new map getting people to download stuff. I'm sure they're not happy with the fact all those new downloads and everything are going to count against this.
Yeah,
if people jump back into it to
rushing
play it.
because it's supposed to take all this is supposed to take effect January 1st, so that's why even like Among Us and stuff are like, yeah, this year.
Well, but that's the thing. It's retroactive. It may take effect on January 1st, but this whole time is now being taken into account.
They backtracked on that.
I don't believe them, though. That's the thing. They keep changing.
I know, but they
that.
said it will only be new installs, so they said it's not retroactive. That would be too much for them to even handle to figure that out.
I don't think they know what too much is anymore. I don't trust they understand that.
I think at this point we're going to see, again, I have to bring Wizards up. We're going to see an eventual complete backpedal or some kind of ultimatum where they go, okay, enough of you complained. We're not sorry, but we're going to put some things back the way they were so you come back to us.
Wait for it, Chris. We heard your voices loud and clear. We have decided that the best thing we can do for gamers is to not have this go as it was just a test. Thank you for being part of our test.
There you go. It was all just a test, just like the Multiverses beta that took your money.
It was all just a dream. All right, so to end this, I'm going to go around I keep wanting to say table, but whatever, the four of us here.
It's the figurative table.
Yes or no?
The virtual table.
Yes or no? Is this going to end up being the death knell for Unity? Are we going to get enough people moving away from it? Steven, we'll start with you.
No, the logo at the beginning of the screens for all these games will get a lot smaller for Unity, and it'll be hidden like the Havoc engine, where you just don't know what's running on Havoc anymore either. So Unity's going to do the same thing. They're going to make sure that you can't see them anymore. But I think if, or I should say when things get ironed out or rolled back, they're going to hide. But people will still, they've got too much invested in it.
Yeah.
Both like you said, people trained in it, teams, all that stuff. They can't. There's no way they can just switch over to a new one without losing too much money. So to save money, if they roll this back or when they roll this back, they'll just say, "Oh, hide the logo or something." That's all.
Yep. Chris, what about you? Yes or no? You think this is the end of them?
That's a tough call. It really depends on what they do to fix or, any kind of damage control. It really depends on, how everybody pushes back and says, this was a terrible idea. This is what we're going to do instead. If they don't do that, if the CEO just goes, screw you, got mine, then I guess you're going to be seeing a lot more Unreal games.
The CEO resigned, though.
Oh, he did?
He cashed out of stock, and he named a new successor.
Damn, I didn't hear about that part.
Ooh.
All right, Rachel, yes or no, you think this is the end of Unity for this?
I don't know that it would necessarily be the end. I think it's like Stephen was saying about the Havoc engine. I think they will fade into some form of, not complete obscurity, but they will fade, and no one will ever trust them again. So
yeah, no one will ever outright say it's running on that engine. They'll just say it's running on an engine that we worked on.
Okay. So I don't think, I'm going to say no. I don't think this is the end of them. I do see eventually this being one of those things where like, hey, you can get a halfway decent 3D modeling and programming thing in the next Humble Bundle because they've fallen that far. And I could see like the big three, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, pretty much discouraging people from using this. Like, hey, why don't we train you up on this different engine or something else? Just so they don't have to, because as soon as they try and charge this fee back to, any game Nintendo's putting out that you get with the Nintendo Switch Online or whatever, or any of the Game Pass stuff or PlayStation Plus stuff. The moment they were like, well, we'll charge Microsoft, I guarantee Microsoft was like, hell no, you won't. Like, I don't see this in a contract anywhere. And we've lawyered countries this year. We will lure you out of existence. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so moving on to a group that will not put up with this bullshit, that is fighting back, I am happy to say in a unanimous vote, Marvel Studios visual effects workers have agreed to unionize with the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, the IATSE.
Yahtzee that's what I call
Yahtzee?
it. I
Yahtzee!
don't think
So-
that's what they call it, but Yahtzee.
I cannot ever hear it differently, Rachel. You have
You're-
broken my point.
You're
I'm
welcome.
referring to this. The Yahtzee's VFX organizer, Mark Patch, said in a statement, quote, "Today, VFX workers at Marvel Studios spoke with a unanimous collective voice demanding fair pay for the hours they work, healthcare, a safe and sustainable working environment, and respect for the work they do. There can be no stronger statement highlighting the overwhelming need for us to continue our work and bring union protections and standards to all VFX workers across the industry. And there can be no stronger example of the courage and solidarity of these workers than each and every one of them declaring union yes." And I think this is a good thing. Marvel, specifically under Disney, have been pushing their VFX artists, expecting shorter and shorter deadlines, more and more work without any compensation or, without any reasonable compensation or protections to that. And getting to the point where people are like mocking the work and so forth without realizing like, hey, yeah, okay, you thought the what's his name's face looked stupid in Ant-Man, or the suits in, Black Panther looked weird during that scene, but the amount of work they're having to do pretty much last minute for a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see you do it under that much stress. They need to have that protection where they can be given more reasonable deadlines to actually do the work that these people are really good at when given a chance. Like when they actually get to shine, it's amazing to watch. So, yay. I'm glad to see more, could it lead to strikes and stuff in the future? We're going through a couple of them right now, but these people deserve to be paid for their work. They're artists. They don't just, Disney and Marvel don't just magically get these things or make these movies. These people bring them to life along with the actors and writers. So I'm all for it. Any thoughts from you guys?
I think there's been, how to put it? I think there's been a big divide between the consumer and the, creators for the longest time. You watch something and you think, oh, those actors are amazing. They come up with this whole thing. It's like what I mentioned earlier with Matt Groening in The Simpsons. You think, oh, Matt Groening drew, wrote, produced,
somehow voiced.
Right. Well, you give credit to the voice actors, but you think they come up with all the jokes.
Right.
So, when everybody goes on strike, the people sitting down go, what do these guys do again? They don't realize that people make the stuff that, it's not like you can go to a McDonald's and, hey, this cow just took a burger out of its chest. There you go. There is a process, and more people need to know that these are real people with lives, and, their work needs to be appreciated.
Yep.
So yeah, strike on.
Steven?
I'm okay either way. It's just with the unions. It's great and all, but I hope you get what you're asking for, because so far the trend is not in anyone's favor.
No, everyone's digging their heels in on both sides. Like, it is just wild to watch as a outsider perspective, because I'm just like, oh, okay, these people are striking, these people are striking, these people are striking. More and more people, also totally unassociated with each other, are striking. And I'm sitting here going, well, pretty soon no one's going to be working if we're all going to be striking, I guess. But I'm like, dang, like, wow.
In a perfect world, everything will end up like the UPS strike. Solved quickly, amicably, and everybody's happy on both sides there.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. That's all, I mean, that is all we can hope for, is for them to reach some kind of happy middle ground agreement, that where everybody is, yes, there's some concessions that have been made, and on both sides likely, but eventually some kind of agreement will have to be made. Otherwise, there's not going to be anything happening. So,
yeah, because I mean, when it comes down to the end of the day, like, movie companies are bankrolling a lot of these films and doing this stuff, giving their CEOs and everybody these massive bonuses and payouts. But you're not going to have a movie without the actors, without someone to write that movie, without VFX to make the effects believable or make, the magic happen, as they say. You're not going to have the music without the musicians. You're not going to have any of this stuff without people doing that work. So they're not just numbers on a sheet for them to, to just magically make it happen. It's actual work that goes into every bit of it. So I'm always for people getting a fair payment on that. They should be treated like human beings, work together, and you get better art when everybody is working towards the same goal, rather than one person just wanting a paycheck and you just happen to make these people make something, and out of their own passion, they do the best they can with what they've got. Give them the tools, let them do what they can. That's my view. Speaking of people making great things, Wizardry, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, is getting a full 3D remaster from Digital Eclipse of the Apple II original game. I had this on the NES, which even then it was pretty graphically sparse, but at least like some of the walls had textures, or I say textures, they were all sprites. But you could tell it was a brick wall or a, whatever, concrete, and there was a door there, not just green lines and stuff. So this is an early access title. It's $30 now on Steam. Have you guys seen any of it yet? Because damn, it looks really good.
I saw some of the graphics. I will admit that I'm confused with Wizardry, because instead of NES, I played Wizardry first on the Commodore 64.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you played as a little green dude,
and
it was just called Wizardry. So I was like, wait, so which one in the 8, 9 did I play? Because I never heard any subtitle. I never saw a Roman numeral or number next to it. So I was like, did I play the first one? Because everybody's saying it's first person stuff. Like, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird one on that one. Chris, is that one you ever played?
No, actually, this is completely new to me. So I'll be interested in finding out more, certainly.
Okay. Rachel, is this ever a series you've ever messed with or heard of? Nope. It seems almost roguelike in the way that you play it, the way you kind of just go in, explore, die, and start again. But I don't know. It looks fun. The part of my interest is this really feels like it would be a great Steam Deck game to just play through and kind of go on a little adventure. It doesn't seem like it takes up much, so it'd probably be good on battery life. Play it for a bit,
feel
die,
like a
and then
standard dungeon crawler, which is, we don't have as many of those as you would think these days.
Yeah, kind of nice throwback. So I don't know. I was excited, and I was just kind of happy to see it pop up. I don't know if this is something we're ever going to get a physical release of. Like I said, it's, it hasn't even been announced for any consoles. This is PC only right now, and it's still Steam early access because, and I'm more trusting of Digital Eclipse with this because I know the quality of work that they do. So they're just like, hey, we've got this part going and we're making changes and updating as we go. We're just making an option to let you get it ahead of time, which I'm kind of okay with.
Yeah, and apparently wish listing does have an effect. So
yes.
they said, please wish list, please go into early access, because if they have enough interest, they said they will, with enough interest, make a full documentary version of it.
Oh, yes.
That seems to be the thing to do these days.
I love it. Like, that's, I mean, what was it? Like, we're getting the weird plumbers don't wear ties. That's basically that.
They took a chance on this, like they did Karateka, and if people are loving, or Karateka for me, how I say it. But
well, apparently you can
on that, and it's paid dividends.
Yeah, for like, I think it's like $42, you can get Karateka, as well as the early access for Wizardry together on Steam.
Nice.
So I might end up doing that, though. I think I'm going to order a physical copy of the Karateka whenever I get a chance. So
It's the third pronunciation of it. Okay.
Karateka, whatever. The K game.
And Karateka.
Karateka.
There you go. Fourth turn. Rachel, you want to throw your hat in, make up a weird way to say Karateka, Karataka, whatever?
Karateka.
Karateka.
Oh, dear.
Well, now that we've gone into the adult version, yeah. It's the PC only unrated edition. Yeah.
Listen, you asked, okay? I just provided.
I won't make that mistake again, not with kids around. All right.
Oh, just turn off your listening ears, children.
Earmuffs, kids.
Earmuffs.
All right, so we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, other than our lovely Unity chat. But we had a Nintendo Direct. What was that sound for?
The Unity thing.
You're spitting out.
Okay, I thought it was like from the meat and potato. I was like, "What are you, vegetarian? Did I not know about this? Like, what's going on?" It's like, did you just inadvertently step in something?
Oh boy!
Oh boy!
Yeah, no, Unity they're full of shit. So we have the Nintendo Direct on the 14th, and then later in the day we had a PlayStation State of Play. I will tell you now, one I thought was exciting, the other I was confused and disappointed. I'll let you figure that one out.
Listen, I was excited for both of them, but at the beginning of one of them, I just sat there and went, I am so confused.
You know what's sad? The start of that was actually the more exciting part for me, because I was like, at least this is weird and experimental. And then it just got weirder and worse.
Yeah, I was like, is this the prequel to Death Stranding? What are we watching?
There was one part that I was, of course, obviously really excited for, and we'll get to that.
Of course. We'll talk about that one.
You guys are going to have to fill me in. I did not see the State of Play.
Yeah.
You did not miss much, and I don't even mean that sarcastically.
Look behind you, Chris. That was basically all you got to see. It was the same thing you see every day.
Ooh. All right, then.
Damn.
Well, we'll start with the good stuff, then.
All right, so we're going to run through these kind of quick. If there's any specifics or ones we want to talk about, please stop me and we'll go into them. So first off, the Nintendo Direct started with Splatoon 3 Expansion Pass Wave 2 called Side Order. And I'm still super confused as to what's going on, but I love how it looks.
It is now, it is actually a roguelite. So you can play it. You can play this expansion as much as you want, and it'll be different every time.
Okay, I'm down with that.
Not only that, but do you remember the vote at the end of, I think, Splatoon 2 with Order versus Chaos?
Yes.
That the Splatfest was based off of? Apparently, Side Order is what the game would have looked like if Order won.
Oh.
Side Order.
Okay, I like that. So I'm now more intrigued. Next up, we had Mario vs. Donkey Kong coming February 16th, 2024. Not a Game Boy Advance remake, though Steven is convinced it is. This is a new game in the series from the Game Boy Advance where it originated, that's had a bunch of alternate ones. You do get local co-ops, so that'll be kind of fun. Also to mention, I'm sorry, the expansion pass Side Order did not give a date. So we'll just, when that happens, sometime this holiday, I think. So after that, we had Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown coming January 18th, 2024. It looks really good. It looks like a nice modern take on the original Prince of Persia.
If you pre-order it, you'll get the character from Warrior Within as your hero.
God. They should have given us like a Jake Gyllenhaal version. That would have been a great bonus. Just
I say it's not going to be Prince of Persia unless, if you know, every time you press forward, you only move 1/8 of a pixel.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I want Nolan North voicing my character again.
I'm sure somehow he's in there voicing something. The man gets everywhere. After that, we had Horizon Chase 2, which is available now, which is what Chris was talking about playing. Apparently, it's jittery, but it has 4-player local or online, so maybe I can pick it up and we can race each other with that choppy frame rate.
Maybe not. Maybe we'll have to sign up with Epic Games first.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that already. Good God.
Everyone wants them to sign up. Everyone.
I mean, the game looks good, but yeah, that's a weird requirement. I mean, I have an Epic Games Store account, but you shouldn't have to have one to play a Switch game. I agree. Like as an option, cool. Let me sign up for it. That's fine. But requiring it is dumb.
Yes.
Yeah, it should be an option. Just like the Ubisoft stuff should have been an option. EA had their stuff. That should be an option. Whatever. Super Crazy Rhythm Castle coming November 14th has Konami songs in it. It's just a kind of crazy multiplayer rhythm game.
Yeah, it looks like Mario Party meets a rhythm game, and the trailer showed Beatmania, Castlevania, and Gradius remixes in there. So I was like, I'll bite for that.
I was a bit confused. I was like, no, okay. It's a rhythm game. I'm sure somebody will love it. We had Spy X Anya, Operation Memories coming in 2024.
Looks cute.
It's anime.
Yeah.
Let's take something action-packed like Spy Family and just include the little girl instead.
Actually,
Okay,
that's
cool.
closer to what it is, because Spy vs. Family is basically just spies pretending to be a family. There's less action than you would think.
Yeah.
Would you recommend I watch that? I've never seen it. I hear about it.
If you want to laugh, like
it's good. I've seen a few episodes. It's good.
I mean, I'm looking for recommendations while the strikes are going on for stuff to watch. Why not?
It's very cosplayable too, for sure.
I'm not surprised that's where Rachel went.
Somebody that can sew, but
or if you have money and access to the internet. So
hey, I'm working on my Ghostbusters suit, so I'm actually going to try cosplaying for once.
Nice.
After that, we had a little game called Super Mario RPG coming November 17th. This update showed off more of the newer features, including post-game boss fights, rematches, and other features. And then a whole separate thing that came up that you can switch between the original and the remastered original soundtrack, which is nice. So you can actually switch to the Super Nintendo version or Super Famicom if you're in Japan to hear those original tunes. I'm kind of curious to hear how the new one sounds. Like if they get an actual orchestral style sound, I probably enjoy that. I like Nintendo stuff done with an orchestra. It's like some of my favorite music for that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they brought Yoko Shimomura back for it too, which is always nice.
Nice.
Yeah, she was happy to come back.
That's a good lady right there.
There you go.
One of the best musicians in the biz.
She's just so cool. She's so cool. A friend of mine sat next to her at the Final Fantasy 15 thing that they did that number of years ago in California. Yeah, sat like she was here and he was like a seat behind her, and he was freaking out. he literally was like never calls me, never like texts me, nothing, and texts me just a picture of the back of her head, and I go, what is this? And she goes, he goes, that's Yoko Shimomura, and I go, you okay? And he goes, no, I'm not. And I go, okay.
This is fantastic.
That's
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's like, I don't even know why I'm sitting here. That's literally, he's like, I don't know why they put me here, but here I am. So I love
greatness.
Her. She's so great, and I'm glad that they're bringing her back for it. That's gonna be awesome. A beautiful noise.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Another code, Recollection, January 19th, 2024. This was a fun one because a remake of the original DS release, which is another code, Trace Memories.
Yep.
And the originally Japan-only Wii sequel, Another Code R, that we're getting in North America and other countries for the first time. I didn't even know that game had a sequel.
I knew because I'm one of those like weird people that, I played Hotel Dusk and Jake Hunter, and
I loved Hotel Dusk.
And I played all the visual novel like mystery things. I'm a big fan of Phoenix Wright. I love Professor Layton.
Did you play the Famicom Club thing?
It's on my list. It's on my list of stuff to play. Which, I mean, they announced this before the Nintendo thing, but Ace Attorney the Apollo Justice ones are going to be coming to Switch. And I'm sitting here going, come on, guys, let's do the Miles Edgeworth Investigations game. If you're going to be, everyone's going to be releasing stuff that was never released in the States, well, you could do that one. And there's a second game is right there. So, but I'm excited. That's why I'm excited for this, because if game devs continue to do this, it'll prove to other game devs that, like, hey, maybe we should release that stuff that we didn't release in the States, because they seem to really want this now. So
I'm kind of happy that they're actually walking away from the trace memory part too, and just calling it two memories, to just say, oh, it's always been another code. We just called it something confusing when it came here.
Well, that's because at the time that these games came out, like, localization was weird. I mean, it's always been weird, but it was especially weird for games released around that time, coming here to the States. Like, I distinctly remember playing one of the Phoenix Wright games, and there was a mission at a circus with a clown, and there was a point in the game where you are questioning him on the stand, and he gets nervous and he starts rapping, and it's basically the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air rap, but it's for a clown, and it goes by so fast that you can barely see it.
That's just weird.
Yeah, so weird localization.
Wondering, in the DS remake, the first one,
mm-hmm.
There's one puzzle where you had to close the DS to solve it. So how are they going to do that now for the Switch version?
You know what you're going to do? You're going to press the home button.
I was thinking, like, if it, my original thought was, well, you could use the IR sensor and cover it. But then I was like, well, then that would rule out anyone playing on a Pro Controller or anyone playing on a Switch Lite. You know, but
you're going to press the home button.
She's or you're gonna sleep wrong.
It,
or you're gonna put the Switch in sleep mode and then resume. That's gonna be the two options. Yeah. I already know.
Put in the Konami code. Us older players will probably go to that before we even hit the home button. We'll just do that just out of fun. Like, what are we gonna do? Hey, it worked.
But no, I'm really excited about this one. Like, I was messaging Jeremy some live commentary as I was watching it, because I watched it well after it actually aired, and this was probably the thing that I was most excited for. So
I gave her a heads up. I was like, stay away from the Discord. We're spoiling things.
Yeah. I was at work. I can't always watch things on time.
Now, this next one, I've been hearing about this game since it was originally announced, and now Jennifer is just losing her mind. Princess Peach Showtime, coming March 22nd, 2024. Using Stella's ribbon, Peach can attack and then further transform by changing costumes and thus gameplay styles. Some of them they showed off were Sword Fighter, Kung Fu Fighter, Detective, Dessert Chef, and a bunch more that you can do. And Jennifer's
Peach stole Kirby's powers.
Well, that's if she ate the people. Right now, she's just dressing up as them.
Just stole his powers, though.
Well, I mean, she's trying to catch up to all the weird jobs Mario's had over the years by just changing clothes. He was the tennis.
Best part of this of this trailer was when they announced the name of the ribbon, and I was watching a reaction from Nintendo World in New York City. Everybody had the same reaction when they heard the name. They all yelled it out. It was hilarious.
Was it Stella?
Yeah, the whole store was like, Stella!
Okay, streetcar names there.
I'm actually excited to play this one. I like the idea of how they're doing it. It's not like Super Princess Peach, where it was like, oh, she can use emotions to do different things, which was a fun game, but some people were like, it's a bit on the nose, to where, like, she could, she has to cry, or she has to do this, or get angry to, like, affect her environment. This one kind of feels like they're having more fun with her being able to just change different jobs and every
bad for
mini
anything
games.
Else that comes out in March, because I'm not playing it.
Well, in a way, it's almost a continuation and sequel of, from Super Mario Odyssey, where at the end she was like, "I'm going on my own vacation."
Oh, that's a good point.
So this is her truly doing her own thing. She don't need no man. She don't need Mario. Nobody. She could probably kick Bowser's butt.
Did anybody get the clever joke with the villain? The villain is Grape and the Sour Bunch,
Sour
Oh,
grapes.
and they're whining, so they're basically
Oh
they're messing
boy.
up all the different shows
Bunch
because
of
they're
sour
whining
grapes.
about not
Yep.
having their spot in the
Wah.
spotlight.
Wah.
It looks like a game I think Jennifer's really going to enjoy. And it's one I have no qualms getting for her. So she'll have this day one, I guarantee it.
Honestly, she was the first person I thought of when I saw this because I literally was like, Peach stole Kirby's powers. Jennifer's going to love this.
Well, she already loves Peach, but I was like, because she's been begging for this since they showed it on the Direct like months ago when they didn't even have the title for it yet. So she
I didn't even
just
see
wants
that
a Princess
Direct,
Peach.
so.
Yeah. She just really wants to play whatever that Princess Peach game is. When is it coming out? I had to keep telling her, I don't know. They said it would be later. I don't know. So now we have a name. So now she's asking me by name, which is almost worse. Because now she can find it more on her Switch and keep showing it to me going, can we go and pre-order it? Can I go and get it? Can I go? Oh,
Pre-orders open today.
yeah. I'm sure she heard that part and immediately went, Dad will pay for it. Dad will. So up next, this is not a series I'm really familiar with, but I have a feeling this is going to be one Rachel is going to know about. Saga Emerald Beyond coming in 2024.
I don't know a huge amount of it, but the first person I thought of when it was like shown, I was like, this seems like something Joey would play because he's played all the other ones.
Well, I just was looking at the HD 2D style art.
You know,
it's like
it never does the same thing twice.
Uh-huh.
So this one is actually injecting a heavy amount of visual novel in there in terms of the conversations you have with your party members and such, but if you watch the trailer, it's some of the saddest stories. Like the songstress who's trapped in a robot's body. I was just like, what are we doing?
Well, that's just crazy.
You know, I never expect to see a Saga game at these kind of things. So that kind of threw me for a loop. I think I've only played like one Saga game. So
well, an old friend of mine actually played tons of those games, and he said that Unlimited was the death of the series. So he was surprised to see another one. We'll see if it's good or not.
Well, apparently
you guys know what he thinks.
Right. Apparently we're going to have 6 heroes to choose from, so at least there might be some variety. I'm seeing that happen a lot more, especially after like Octopath Traveler, and then of course, you know, we had some of the earlier games like Live Alive, where you could choose the shorter stories. Yeah, Live Alive. That's another one we could probably all disagree on how
I need to get Octopath Traveler 2 eventually. I need to finish Octopath Traveler and the Live.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
I'm bad about finishing games. So
I've also been really bad about it because, you know, I'm busy.
There you go. So this next one I was more excited for than I realized I would be. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered starring Lara Croft, which should have been obvious. Coming February 14th, 2024. You're able to switch between the original art style and the updated graphics at the touch of a button, which is one of those weird features I love in a game, that you can just switch back and forth and see how they do it. It was one of my favorite things on, what was it, Halo 2, when they remastered that. Halo 1, you could do it by selecting it, but Halo 2, you could actually go back and forth on it in real time. I love when games do that, so I can see what the updated version looks like versus its original take on something.
And each one is actually going to get the expansions that only the PC versions got back in the day. Mm-hmm. So people like me who lived on the PlayStation ones, I'm like, oh, I'm just getting a beefier game now. Sweet.
Right.
And I always like the Tomb Raider games. They're just fun.
Yeah. I mean, the first one you get to fight a T-Rex, which was the most random thing ever. So, I haven't heard anything if this is going to get a physical release. I'm hoping it does. And then, of course, we have to find out if are we going to get all 3 games on the cartridge if they do that.
And it's priced nicely, too. It's $30, so $10 a game.
That's not too bad. So if it's digital only, I don't feel horrible picking it up. I think I heard it's also coming for the other systems, too.
Yeah, it is coming to everything.
So if I have to get it digitally, I might grab it on Xbox in that case, but we'll see. I don't know. It kind of feels like it'd be a fun portable title, too. So... Chris, any interest in Tomb Raider?
My aunt was really big into it, but I've never been into the series myself. I do appreciate the fact that you can go from one to the other in terms of. I wonder if they're going to do that with music as well. Because one of my favorite games of that type of thing, Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap,
Oh yes.
had the standard pixel art and the completely remade hand-drawn art and orchestrated music,
Yep.
and you could switch between one or the other, which was great. I want more games to do that. Actually, Mario RPG is going to do that too. You
Mhm.
can switch between original music and the new orchestrated music anytime.
Yep. That's what we talked about earlier.
It was good timing too, because on Call of Duty Warzone, they
You
just
did that
announced
to yourself.
they just announced that Lara Croft was added as an operator. So I was like, good timing,
Interesting.
guys.
See, I told you somehow we bring the game into this so you could drink weirdly.
Oh Lord.
And I had a feeling, Steven, you'd be interested in this one because right above your head, for those listening to this, right above his head, there is a nice Tomb Raider Lara Croft statue of the old style right next to the newer style right behind him. So
I can just vaguely see it.
it's right there by his big Skyrim dragon, which I have the same one. So nice. Oh, he's going to get it.
Yep, there he goes.
Oh, no, he's not going to get it. He just left us. All right.
Oh, dear.
Next up, we had Detective Pikachu Returns coming October 6th, 2023. I never opened my Detective Pikachu amiibo. I ended up just leaving it sealed because it was just massive and weird.
Yeah, he's huge for no reason.
He's heavy.
I just want them to put the first game also on Switch. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, I'm really surprised that hasn't happened yet, honestly.
Next direct.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be a Switch 2 launch title.
It'll be like a
weird.
surprise. Here you go.
If Returns sells well, they'll be like, first one's coming.
I actually could see him do that eventually, just to increase it. So this next game, I had to immediately send to the band director that I'm really good friends with because he plays trombone. Trombone Champ, available now. It's up to 4 players, can assault your ears, so you can basically learn what it feels like to teach a 6th grade beginning band class because it sounds terrifying.
Or play Wii music.
I laughed for 5 minutes. Like I had to pause it when I was watching it because I was laughing so hard because I've watched people stream this. Hysterical.
Oh God.
I've watched people like they have it set up where like I guess because this is I think it's on Steam, and they have it set up where they're using their arms to control it with their like camera, and it is the funniest thing that I have ever watched because it is absolute chaos, and it looks like you're using a Mii. So it
fits on the Switch.
It's so hysterical.
I saw that Happy Birthday was on there, and I was just like, well, the next 2 birthdays are Chris's and my wife's, so I was like, I know what I'm playing for their birthday.
So the controls I like because you can either use motion controls with the Joy-Con to control it, or because somebody finally remembered this existed, you can use the IR camera on the Joy-Con to actually use your hand for the distance, because I can only think of
What's that
3
device
games
called?
used it.
What's that device called? It's like a wire.
Seraphim? No.
Theremin.
I was close.
The second control method reminded me of that because they said you change the pitch depending on how far away and close your hand is. And I was like,
I
was
would
like a trombone.
a Switch-made theremin. I want someone to do that now.
a 3D print one that you can put the controller in for trombone champ. Give him time.
But yeah, like I said, this is one of only a handful of games that remember that the damn camera exists. So that's amazing.
Just in time for the death of the Switch. Very nice.
Right. I kind of wonder, do you think a new Switch will still have that camera? Or do you think they'll just get rid of it and move on to something different?
It depends on if they make a decent game for it that didn't tank as bad as everybody's Switch. Or 1-2 Switch, I'm sorry.
1-2
You
Switch
want
was
to have
fun.
backwards compatibility, though. It needs it, because otherwise all the WarioWare games are dead.
Good point.
Yeah. Or they could just make you have to buy a Joy-Con. Just use that like you would. You had to get a Wii remote.
Motion Plus.
Well, you had to
there's
have
a
a Wii
question.
remote to play on Wii games on a Wii U, so wouldn't be the
Yeah,
first
I wonder if the old Joy-Cons will work on the new console. That's an interesting question.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
We'll find
All
out.
right. Yep. Battle Crush coming spring 2024 with a beta test October of this year. 10 teams of 3 compete in an online battle royale brawler where the map falls apart as you play. It looked interesting, but I don't think I'm going to play this. Anybody else? Even you'd be interested?
Rumbleverse had to die, so this could come out.
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting, but it also looks like it's just going to fall through the cracks. But who knows?
I see what you did there.
I didn't even mean that one. But
well done, though. Anyways,
I mean, this looks like a sink or swim kind of thing. Like, it might be popular on Twitch. People might be like, "Oh, this is amazing," or it might just be Fall Guys, where they're trying to grab onto relevancy now.
We'll know if that happens if there's all of a sudden a cloud version from Square running around or something like they did with Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll be getting.
Oh, come on, Rachel! Even you got to admit that's a cash grab on Fall Guys' part.
It's so totally.
We'll be getting into something that's probably going to be dead on arrival when it comes out from Square. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, I have so many bad things to say about it. It's not what you think, Rachel. It's not what you think. You will agree.
I probably will. Yeah.
War Tales, which is available now, it's 4-player online. Just kind of like, hey, it's there. Good job. It didn't really catch my attention. If you guys had anything to say about it, whatever, like, hey, you released a game. Good for you. Check it out. It's online now. This one I was excited about. Contra, Operation Galuga. Galuga.
Not to be confused
Another word
with Galaga.
Yeah, Galuga.
Completely different.
Rachel, can you say it inappropriately? I don't know.
Don't encourage her.
She's incorrigible.
I am.
This comes out early of next year, 2024. Reimagining of the NES original title, 4-player co-op mode, and it's made by Way Forward, which is a plus for me because I love their games. I love Contra. I have the collection. I've got a bunch of the other versions. I've always just had fun playing these, even when they're brutally difficult. So, yeah. And this had better function in some way with the Konami code. I'll be pissed if it doesn't do something. I don't care if it just pops
up these microtransaction things like Contra Force that ruined it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
This next game, I need Chris to read the third bullet point in his best narrator voice because that's what they did in the trailer.
It's
okay.
It's such a silly name.
So
it is. You know, if you told me, like, if none of us watched the trailer. And you told me that there was a game called Unicorn Overlord.
I was going to say, give us the best voice, read the name, and then read that last line on the notes.
Go for it.
Go for it, Chris.
Go for it, Chris.
All right. Unicorn Overlord. Atlas and Vanillaware team up to reimagine the tactical strategy RPG with unicorns and overlords overlording unicorns.
When I saw this title, the first song that popped into my head was there's a song by Voltaire called "I'm Riding a Black Unicorn," and there's a line that goes, and tonight we're riding a black unicorn from the top of an erupting volcano," and I was like, this is what the game needs to be. Is it that? No.
We'll find out what it is March 8th.
I don't know. I literally was looking at it and I was like, I don't know. It looks like a poor man's Fire Emblem, but we'll see.
It kind of looks like Final Fantasy Tactics, but we have it at home kind of thing.
Oh my God, we are brutal on this game.
Wow, you guys are all so mean. You guys didn't even
with that name, I expected it to be like an indie Steam game, like those party games where you've got like 4 different people playing a unicorn.
Listen,
guys in unicorn suits trying to like make it to the top of a thing, and they're like, "I'm the Overlord! Yay, first place!"
Listen, I literally put on the notes the only game it plays like, and everybody else just dunked on it saying Final Fantasy at home.
It could be amazing.
Like,
who knows?
Atlas makes good stuff. We know this, but why did they give it such a indie game title? Okay,
it's Atlas.
Okay, is it better or worse than Triangle Strategy?
Yeah, this is better than that, I think.
A Day in the Life's not so bad.
But it sounds like there's a colon after that. A Day in the Life. What? Of what?
Of whom?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So like I said, March 8th, 2024, this comes out. So we'll see what happens then.
I'll get the art book.
There
I
you
already
go.
pre-ordered the collector's edition.
I
I'll
do
let you
like
know
the
how it
art
is.
style. What was it like? It kind of reminded me of some of the art from like, what was it, Dragon's Crown?
Yeah,
Some of those
middleware.
with the
So,
painted 2D,
Muramasa,
3D.
Dragon's Crown,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'll give it that. But oh my God, we have Final Fantasy Tactics at home. That killed me, Rachel. All
That
right,
was
so
Chris. I just started it.
It's your fault too.
yeah,
we'll share
Bask in
the
it.
we'll share the blame.
take your blame. So, oh man, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD coming out summer of next year. This is one of the later games on this direct that was announced. This is a remake of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon from the 3DS, which I find it kind of weird that they've dropped the name and just made it Luigi's Mansion 2.
Maybe that means they're going to port the first one to the Switch. When? I don't know.
Yeah, the first one got a port on the 3DS, which I thought was kind of a fun and fitting thing because originally it was supposed to be played in stereoscopic 3D on the
That's
GameCube.
where the remake went. I knew there was one, but I didn't know if it was on Switch or something else.
Yeah, that's why it felt kind of fitting that it was on 3DS because you could play it in 3D. So they're like, hey, this is what we designed it for. Now you get to see it how it was supposed to be playable on the GameCube. Because the first time it was shown, they had that screen attached on top of the GameCube. That was one of their experimental screens. They just had the 3D turned off. So we could see it. So who knows? But they have added 4-player online multiplayer modes to this one. They have a couple different ones of those. The game looked really clean. I mean, it doesn't look like a kind of quick and dirty port. Like they actually upscaled stuff and made it look.
It did look
better.
like it does need until summer 2024 to run better in multiplayer, though.
Maybe. Hopefully by that point, maybe Nintendo will have better online services. That's my biggest worry.
Ooh.
That was funnier than the Unicorn Overlord bit.
Well, afterwards, they showed the Nintendo Museum, yet another thing of Nintendo history that I don't get to see because I can't fly to Japan. They're going to be having a variety of Nintendo products from their history will be on display with construction due to finish March of next year. But they do have a giant question block on the top of it. So if you happen to fly over it, point your 3DS down there and maybe you can get a big giant creature to show up on top of the building if you're quick enough.
It's made out of lava.
Great. Really? I never thought about that.
I mean, I'm sure it might recognize it. I don't know. You're high enough up.
Can you imagine?
I have the big poster question block card. So you could make like giant, people and stuff out of it, but I don't know if it would actually reach from a plane. You have to be pretty low.
I don't think I have any of my little cards anymore. I'm not sure where they went.
Oh, I'll send you some. I have more than I'll ever need.
Oh boy.
But the poster one I got from the Club Nintendo. I'm sure, Steven, you probably have that one still, right?
In box 1 of 64, probably, yes.
Oh wow, he has
They're
the
around.
boxes numbered.
He's better organized than I am on that. So we're getting some more amiibos, as we are always. I'm actually surprised Nintendo has stuck with us this long, and I'm very happy about it. So
We'll keep
the
buying
last
it.
one-
People will keep selling it.
oh,
The
I'll
last
keep buying
one's
them.
probably already sold out. And it's
Yeah.
not even in stores.
It's not even available for sale yet. Zelda and Ganondorf are coming November 3rd. Noah and Mio from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 are coming January 19th of 2024. Jeremy Jr. was very happy about this. I'm sure he's going to be getting those. And I will be trying to get all of these because I'm still trying to keep my North American set. But finally, we are getting Sora from Kingdom Hearts for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as the final Smash Bros. Character in 2024.
Everyone is
So-
here.
Yeah,
And
I'm
now-
actually surprised they managed to finish the set. They actually are going to release them all.
And now it's been completed. The circle is now complete.
And
the
now we
summoning
start
can
all over
begin.
again.
I think it's also going to be the last amiibo until the next system.
Oh, that would be fitting.
I don't think it would have to be. I mean,
No, I'm not saying it has to be. I'm saying it probably will be.
probably just because I still think we're going to have at least an announcement by early next year of the new hardware, and
then they'll be
November
like,
is
well,
the
the Sora
later
amiibo
release.
works with Kingdom Hearts 4 on Switch 2.
Well, that's the beauty of them being NFC. The NFC connection. They could just, as long as the reader is on the hardware somewhere, they'll work. They'll be fine. And that's such a simple thing to put in. It'd be kind of weird to skip it because they've got so many other devices that operate with it, including some of like the Pokemon Go stuff and everything that can connect and react with that. And the fact that their amusement parks still use those special amiibo wristbands, they're not going to just write those off. People buy those.
You can even buy now for your house NFC tags. They're like 10 cents a piece.
Yeah, they're super easy. Afterwards, they kind of surprised everybody with F-Zero 99, which we talked about earlier. 99-player battle royale in the style of the SNES original. You can unlock optional vehicle cosmetics based on your racing and your ranks. Nothing paid for, thankfully. And then you gain super sparks from other vehicle impacts to use the Skyway to get ahead, which I was having a hard time getting those. Like, I'd be lucky if I got it once a race. Some people were apparently jumping up and down using it multiple times. I don't know what they were doing yet. And it supports the SNES Switch
They
controller.
were cheating.
If they're better than me, they must be cheating.
Oh, Lord.
I just suck at it. I'm going to play it some more, though. It was nice hearing the old SNES F-Zero music again, though. I love listening to that.
It's also rumored that it runs so buttery smooth because it's got rollback netcode, which is unheard of for Nintendo.
Gasp.
Well, my first attempt at playing it immediately crashed with a disconnection notice, and I was like, oh, this is not a good start. Like my very first online race, because you have to go through a couple, like 3 races of varying difficulty with AI racers before they'll let you race against actual people. And then once you're doing that, that's when it was like, communication error, disconnected. And
So you didn't exit out like you did Excitebike?
Oh God, I'm so pissed about that. I'm still trying to get that last race done. It's been such a pain.
Oh God, kill the biker!
Oh, I was so mad. I haven't even gone back to that part yet. So after that, we had Bandle Tale, a League of Legends story. We had a lot of League of Legends stuff apparently coming in 2024. I'm not a League of Legends fan. Anybody here like that series?
No.
No, but they've got quite a
Following.
and quite a entertainment network going on.
Right.
Because they have the 2 games. They have Project L, the fighting game. They have the Netflix movie, which apparently is extremely well done.
Mm-hmm.
Animation and then some.
I still need to see that one.
Yeah, me too.
And then these weird ones where one's like kiddie-ish and then the other one's more character-based. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, Bandle Tale, League of Legends story comes out 2024. Song of Nunu. Nanu. Another League of Legends story coming out November 1st, 2023. So we'll have to see how those turn out. WarioWare Move It coming November 3rd. The 4-player multiplayer options. I didn't notice, but I guess one of you thought Wario sounded off. I thought he sounded okay.
Unlike Super Mario Wonder, where you knew that was the new voice actor, but you couldn't tell.
Right.
That person did a great job. As soon as Wario spoke in this one, something was off.
I'll have to listen to it more because it didn't sound off.
The other one they said has the new voice actor, so I was like, Well,
the first time I heard this, it was off of my Surface speakers, and I was working in the lab. The second time, I just had one earbud in, and I was sitting in a Starbucks listening to it. So I don't know. Everything sounded normal to me, but I've also heard different Wario for generations, and he sounds different on different systems.
And then Chris mentioned that like the art style has evolved, changed.
Well, okay. The art style has changed since WarioWare Gold, I think, and I don't particularly care for it, but I think it was done to properly change from 2D to 3D with Get It Together. For that, it looks fine. But I personally like the old style you got with Smooth Moves more. That's just me, though.
Okay. You can make me go back and play and look at these again, which is fine. I have all of them, and I love playing the WarioWare game. So, yay, reasons to do it more.
There you go.
Even the Wii U one I loved.
I still love my GameCube version, too.
GameCube, Game Boy Advance. I loved the DS and 3DS ones, but I had a lot of fun with what was the Game Boy Advance one that you could rotate?
Twisted.
Twisted, yes, because that was just so weird. I love that massive cartridge and
The GameCube one had that one that I used to play where you had to pass the baton controller, and just hearing everybody scream at each other to pass it to whoever blue or red or green was amazing. So seeing the mode in this one where everybody's playing as like a warrior and having to freeze was really cool.
yeah, I'm curious to see where they go with it.
It's like, does this mean I need to have 8 Joy-Cons?
I've got that, so I'll be all right. All right. So afterwards, we had Ayuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes, coming April 23rd, 2024.
It looks good.
It does. You start with 3 characters, and then you can add new characters that have their own backstories and will help grow your home base with new options, stores, and things like that.
Make sure you get
looks like an RPG.
Chronicles Rising. Make sure you get the one that's out now, so you know what's going on when you get to this one.
Really?
I knew that name sounded familiar.
It is the spiritual successor to Suikoden or Suikoden, or however you want to say that one.
Suikoden.
Suikoden. I was about to say Suikoden, yeah.
Suikoden. I was looking for the other pronunciation.
Or as we called it when Swole Coden.
That sweet
No,
coat
But
of pan.
apparently, Konami won't give up the name, so the developers are like, well, we'll make our own game with blackjack and anime.
Hookers.
With blackjack and waifus.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
Everyone
the way
wants.
to do it. That's
In
even
fact,
better.
forget the blackjack.
Would it be like Mahjong and waifus?
Christ, no, that's Yakuza.
There you go. Okay.
They had to change that name too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Just name change and everything. All right. So we had Eastward Octopia DLC coming or holiday of this year.
I gotta finish the first one, and I play it sporadically, and I really enjoy it. But it's like, this DLC looked really pretty. It's all bright and colorful.
I bought
It is a
the
beautiful
game
game.
as a cartridge, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get around to playing this," and then it just faded away. That's on me. It's over there somewhere. I'll get to it one day.
I can really like games, but unless I get like super sucked into it, I don't finish it, or I get really close to finishing it, and then I don't. Like,
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about a title that's getting DLC that's in the next section. That I'm like, oh, cool, I can start this up again, because otherwise I won't be able to understand the DLC. Amazing.
Yay. All right. Wargroove 2 coming October 5th, 2023. 3 tactical campaigns, a conquest mode, 4-player local and online multiplayer, and then cutscene and campaign editor, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, cutscene took me by surprise.
Cutscene editor? That's interesting.
The great thing about this, if I remember correctly, Wargroove was basically people coming out making a game that was like, hey, you won't give us Advance Wars? We're going to make our own Advance Wars, and it's going to be with all this stuff and play similar.
Wait, who's the developer for Wargroove?
Ooh,
They got a weird name.
yeah, so I'm trying to remember. I'm like, crap, I can't remember. To the phone. Y'all speak amongst yourselves.
Chucklefish.
Well,
Chucklefish, thank you.
The reason why I'm asking is I was just like, oh yeah, they're the Stardew Valley people. And then at the same time I was like, oh yeah, they're supposed to be making Witchbrook, and that's been in development for years. So maybe now that they're getting Wargroove 2 out, they'll
I might have to give this one a try, because I'm curious to see what you can do with the cutscene and campaign editor, and I'm a huge Advance Wars guy. So anything that kind of feeds that beast, I'm down. I'm in.
Yeah, and the first one had co-op, so it was amazing.
Ooh. This one's got online, which I like even better. Afterwards, they talked about Dave the Diver coming October 26th. Of course, we talked about this earlier about diving to catch fish during the day and then selling them and making food at a sushi restaurant at night. There's a free demo available, so you can go give it a try now. But this is like one of those big media indie darlings that I've heard nothing but good things about.
Yeah,
People
please
just
watch
absolutely
the
have
trailer,
fun.
because how we described it sounds like a simulator, but it is far from that.
It just looks good. It looks like wholesome in a way.
It's very
Toward
calming.
the end, there was like a martial arts master mermaid. There was a giant lobster boss. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it looks very calming and fun. Unlike the next announcement, which is more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 6 coming holiday 2023, because there will be blood. Rachel has already threatened us. We will have to fight back and defend our honor. Red shells, blue shells, and everything else will be thrown at each other. Hate will reign. Also, Daisy will be back. Well, she's already in there. Daisy Circuit. Sorry. That's the only course they've shown from this new one so far.
I will say when I saw the Pauline announcement, I was like, oh my, I'm going to have to change my character because God, what is her name?
Say what?
The person I currently use is like my main on Mario Kart. It's from Super Mario Galaxy.
Oh,
Rosalina. There we go. The big queen lady, because she's huge. So
it's so weird that she's a heavy. I find that hilarious.
She's the queen of the cosmos.
I just figured she had a black hole, and that's why she had bigger gravity or something. I don't know.
That's the star that's going around her. It's pulling everything.
Yeah. So
but
when I saw Pauline announced, I was like, ooh.
So they only showed Daisy Circuit from the Wii for courses. We're still waiting to find out what the other ones are. But they did show 4 returning characters. Pauline, she already mentioned from Mario Kart Tour. Peachette coming from Mario Kart Tour, which seems like a weird character to choose because it's just Toadette, which is another character, but the Super Mushroom to make it Peachette. So it's just Peach with a crown saying it's another character. That's almost as bad as just having like Rose Gold Peach versus normal Peach to me, but whatever. Diddy Kong from Mario Kart Double Dash, was happy to see him back. And then Funky Kong from Mario Kart Wii was a surprise to see returning. I'm not arguing, it's Funky Kong, but did not expect
highly requested. So.
Jokingly, usually highly requested, but hey, they listened, I guess.
Now they can put that little corner on there saying like includes Funky Kong.
Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's still not the weirdest guest character I think I've seen in a game. I've got a weird one where you play as an alien messing with people, but all of a sudden you can get Jill Valentine and the Nemesis to show up as
Under the Skin?
Under the Skin, yes. They show up as like weird cartoon versions of themselves in the game. And I was like, this does not feel like it should be connected at all. But there it is. Oh, that'll be a question one day. What the weirdest secret character in a game you've run into?
Guile in Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Oh god, that game was great. Oh man, I forgot Guile was in that. Yeah. All right. Among Us, the fungal map, which their fungi jungle, which is great. That's coming October of this year as a free update. Once again, they're probably not happy that they're announcing a whole new map to get people to re-download and get into this already million seller game that's already well past the amount that's going to be hit with a shit ton of fees from Unity if this goes through. So I'm sure that rained on their parade.
We will see.
Yeah. We had a sizzle reel, just showed a bunch of previously announced titles. They went through really quickly. And then they finished off with what I thought was a good surprise. I didn't know they were going to be doing this, but Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door will be coming out in 2024 at some point. And my initial reaction, when I watched the trailer, the game looked like what I thought I remembered it looking like until I saw comparisons, and you really see how much they enhanced and made it better. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's good when it looks like what you think it should have been or what it was, Like that's a compliment for me on that state. So I'm going to let y'all talk about this because I can't be the only one excited about this game.
I think the way you feel about the art style is the way I felt about TMNT Shredder's Revenge. That's how my young brain saw TMNT, the arcade game, and Turtles in Time. Just
there you go.
Perfect and, but it turned out to be better. So yes, it's looking good so far. And I hope they do the same thing with the music where you can go from one to the other.
Okay. Steven, what's your thought?
They've changed too much music-wise.
I don't know how they're changing that. I know they're adding in like there's new characters that are showing up. There's new storyline parts that are showing up in there. So it looks like it'll be a port or a remaster, but they're adding in more content so that, we'll see how that expands out. But what are your thoughts on it, Steven?
No, I'm excited. I guess to certain parts of the internet, this is the Paper Mario, not just a Paper Mario. But if it is one of my favorites because whoever did the writing and development for the characters, there's just so many like unique characters that I fell in love with this one more than I did the N64 original.
All right, Rachel, what about you?
Meh.
Yeah,
I didn't play the original. I mean, I did, but I like
that's fine.
if I'm so like I said, if I'm like there's certain things that I'm like really really into, and then I'm like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, it looks cute. I when I am not old, but when I was younger, um, and I worked at a certain game store, I got lots of games. I bought games all the time. I was playing games all the time because that was my job. Um, and so now I'm just like, if I have time to play a game, I'm going to play something that I really like. I'm not going to just go out and play stuff just because it looks interesting now. So something really has to strike me for me to purchase it.
I
And
think for something like this, I would put in my own vote saying I think you would enjoy it.
like,
I
I'm
think this
sure
would be
I
a game you'd
would.
have fun with.
I'm sure I would enjoy it, but my question is do I have the time for it with the other games that I know that I'm going to want to be playing and will be playing around that time? Probably not.
But
But
it's on the Switch, so you could take it with you and play it in places and other times you normally aren't playing the other games.
listen, I don't bring my consoles to work, so I don't I don't
You get stuck in traffic. I don't know.
Oh boy.
so
I'm excited. I'm definitely getting this. This is another one. Jennifer surprisingly was just like, I want to get this one. I was like, we'll have to try her out on the GameCube original and see how that goes first. Like, we'll see
yeah.
how far you can make it.
Daddy will pay for it.
Say what? Daddy will pay for it.
And you'll pay for it.
Yep. So I thought it was a pretty good Nintendo Direct. It felt very much like this is an end of the life Switch Direct, where they had some good last hurrahs. Surprisingly, I thought some of them being summer of next year was kind of a longer distance of time than I expected. You know, a lot of the stuff's kind of earlier in the year, which leans more towards a announcement or system release in the earlier parts of the year, which would not be unsurprising because Nintendo did that with the Switch itself.
Yeah, if you watch the sizzle reel, it's like they kind of outlined every month for you. They're
Yeah.
like, here's October, November, December, January, February, March, spring, summer. So you're like, okay.
So going by that, I would not be surprised if we get early next year announcement of the hardware and then maybe like a early fall or November launch for it. They might go back to the more traditional timing for release. And if it is backwards compatible, there's nothing stopping them. They're going to keep making Switch games for a while. They're not just going to cut it off and go, like they did with the Wii U. Even that kind of stopped. And when the Switch came out, obviously, I could see them still support it for a little bit. Like, how long did we get 3DS games after the Switch came out? We still surprisingly got some that never made it to Switch. Like, what was it? The Metroid 2 remake never came to Switch. Yeah, Detective Pikachu, stuff like that. So I think we'll still continue to see them. So I don't think this will be set the exact date. All right. Afterwards, a couple hours after we watched the Direct, we had the Sony State of Play, and this will be what we finish it. All right. Steven is getting comfortable with his pillow to take a nap. So we're going to start this off with the weird one, which is Baby Steps, coming summer of 2024, which, all right, I will preface this with, I do want to play this. I love the weird idea of using the controller in a weird way to make a person walk. And they've gotten really good with the weird conversations that they have. But starting off their version of a Direct with two characters looking at each other, just saying fuck 4 times back and forth to each other is such a weird way to start your presentation.
Sony really popped off for some reason. I guess whoever planned this was very frustrated, and I don't know what they were frustrated about.
This sounds like it was a state of play set up by the PS3 marketing team. It's that weird.
Yes. Clop 2023.
And I'm sitting here. I was sitting here watching it, and Jeremy, I was sending you commentary on this, and I literally went, "What the hell was that?"
And I knew exactly what you watched.
Oh, it was. But what really got me was his commentary about the grappling hook. Is like, oh yeah, I'll just use the grappling hook. I'll just pull it on my ass.
Like I thought the game was funny, but it's such a weird way to start it off with, and I was just like, okay, I'm interested, but what the hell? And then from there we go to Roblox, which is coming October 10th with full cross-platform support. So that's good.
So my concept of Roblox is what it looked like almost 10 years ago, where they still kind of look like Lego characters.
Yeah, that's apparently changed.
Very much so. My first thought when I saw it was, this doesn't look like Roblox to me. And then I messaged a friend who I remember played Roblox back in the day. And I go, since when did Roblox change to this? And they were like, oh, honey, have you been living under a rock? And I was just like, no, but clearly you have. You're still playing Roblox. And
oh, come on.
And then they were like,
Jesus.
I have a fun conspiracy theory for this.
And they literally were like, I knew you were going to say something mean to me and I love you so much for it. And I said, and I was like, I don't mean it offensively. I was shocked that this is what Roblox looks like.
So here's
Does this version have the oof in it?
Oh, who knows? Tommy Tallarico would be like, I made the PlayStation. Roblox is on there.
It came from Messiah.
Oh, wow. So my conspiracy theory is, you remember Sony had their own game called Dreams, where you could make games and do all this stuff, but it got shut down. I wonder, could they have shut it down as part of their deal to get Roblox on the PlayStation platforms?
Wait, I still have. Do the people who still have Dreams can still do like? I'm confused.
They shut the online down for it. You can't.
Yeah, it's probably like
Mario
Maker.
stuff.
There's not much you can do with it.
Aww.
Yeah, you can use it yourself, but you can't really do what you could with it before.
That's so sad. What? That's stupid.
But that's my conspiracy theory. Maybe they did it as part of the agreement to get Roblox on their system. It was a
cash grab. That's what it was.
Right.
Damn them.
Like, hey, we can get all the money for you buying stuff through here on the PlayStation Network, but then, we don't have to worry about keeping up Dreams. Crazy conspiracy theory. So next up, they had the PlayStation VR 2 announcements, which this was kind of a weird one because we had Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord VR coming October 26th, which is great. I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan, but it's also going to be my Oculus Quest 2, so I'm not going to pay for that.
Hey, Sony, why did you open up this trailer by showing the Ghostbuster logo putting on an Oculus Quest?
Yeah, I noticed they did change that logo to match whatever hardware, because there is a version of the trailer that is the Quest that shows a Quest headset and controllers.
Because during the state of play, it was the Quest.
Really? I thought it was. I only saw the controllers,
I saw
and it was
all the little indents all over the front, and I was like, "That's not a VR2."
Oh, they got the cameras, I thought, but whatever. Resident Evil 4 VR is coming winter of 2023, which I think the PC version is getting the VR support as well. So once again, I'll just use my Quest on my PC and play it, saving myself another $600. And then the Separate Ways DLC comes out December 7th of this year as well.
Non-VR.
No, that's VR.
No, that's not VR.
Oh, they were saying this was both VR announcements. Like, their whole thing was so confusing.
Yeah, Separate Ways is not VR. It's just the other story that people wanted.
Then why?
Not VR.
So why did they put that in with the PlayStation VR announcements? Like, come on, guys. It makes you think it was a PlayStation VR update for Resident Evil 4.
I blame Roblox. Okay.
You blame Roblox.
The more you guys talk about this, the less regret I have over missing this.
Oh, yeah. No, you get to live your regret through us.
It was so chaotic.
Speaking of regret, afterwards was Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, coming out December 7th, 2023. And I think, Steven, you had the best description of this when we were talking.
I did, and then I was corrected.
Oh, okay. Well, say what you originally told me anyways, and then we'll
From
correct
what
it.
from what I was watching in the trailer, I called it Breath of the Navi.
Well, no, you
Be-
called it something else. What was the one, the PlayStation series that was their Breath of the Wild style game?
Horizon.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Avatar.
Yes, that's what you
Zero
called it,
Avatar.
and I laughed so hard.
So when I
But
when
the more I looked into this, they did say that this game is co-op through everything you were seeing, and it plays like Far Cry.
Okay. Why couldn't they have shown that off during the trailer?
I saw shifting perspectives too. Like there's first person stuff, but then there's also third person stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So the game is schizophrenic. But it'll be fun. It looks pretty. So because when you're flying on the Banshee, it's over the shoulder, right? But
I think so.
then there was other sequences where you were literally, it was first person, and I was like, so what is it? Shifting? Is it?
Maybe they only did that for the sake of the showcase.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
usually
either.
With that kind of thing, you have complete control over whether it's first or over the shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Like it's coming out December 7th, so we'll find out. It looks pretty. Like the game genuinely looks pretty from what they showed.
The purpose of this trailer from the reveal was meant to be the story trailer. So I'm sure they're going to have a lot more dramatic cuts.
I think
and
probably
things like that
maybe
to show
next
the story.
month, end of next month, we might get something more with gameplay, I imagine.
Okay. Yeah.
See how that goes what I would guess, or early November.
The next game they showed was Ghost Runner 2 coming out October 26, 2023 with a demo that's now available.
Apparently this is like an endless runner like the game Neon White, but not as frantic.
I still want to give it a shot. Then Sony had a whole section on the Deep Earth collection for their controllers and PS5 shells.
It's like,
so you can get volcanic. Yeah, we can get volcanic red, cobalt blue, and sterling silver.
Like, yes, you want different colored PlayStations? Here you
When
are.
do I get my Toys R Us exclusive gold PlayStation and my smoke PlayStation?
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, just to interject before we get to that announcement, Yuri Lowenthal voices Smoke in Mortal Kombat 1.
There you go.
And you can tell it's just basically Spider-Man in a mask. Ooh, Spider-Man in a mask.
Like, I'm okay with having the options for customizing the systems. Like, I was a huge fan of the faceplates on the 360. I still have a bunch of really nice ones that I collected over the time, including some Final Fantasy ones there, Rachel. Like the Final Fantasy 13, I think they had the faceplate for that. The problem I have
with this announcement is that these are all available, but they're just saying we ripped off the white ones that won't sell and put these 3 colors on them.
Pretty much. Like, I don't get why it would be part of a, like a direct. I want to call it a direct, but no, it's not. But their presentations, the state of plays, kind of feels like you're taking
they were
up the whole
showing
section.
Clear controllers, silver controllers, but then they got melted into red.
Yeah, I would buy a clear PS5 controller.
Oh yeah, I have a clear PS4 controller. So they're nice.
One of my favorite Series X controllers is the 20th anniversary one, which is like a black smoke type, but it's partially transparent, so you can see the electronics on the inside. I'm just a sucker for that.
Sega made one recently that is clear, but has a little Sonic doll or a little Knuckles doll inside.
Yes, it's called the Realms controller line. It goes. Sonic is just one of them. There's a whole bunch of games that it does, and it has scenery from the games inside of it.
Also cool. I've seen someone fill it with beans for some reason.
That's such a weird thing.
Was it 3 a.m.? Me and the boys.
Looking for beans.
So afterwards, we had Helldivers 2 coming February 8th, 2024. They showed some of the multiplayer for it. I would be excited for it.
Marketing. That was the worst marketing because that's Ghost Recon marketing and it sucks.
Yeah, you just hear. I absolutely hate when they have people playing a game online and you get that forced like multiplayer chat. it's always such a weird thing to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, guys, you're trying
I'm sorry,
way too
when
hard.
you kill your teammate, they don't say, "Oh, you killed me." No, there's expletives. Like
Watch your
being
aim,
told
you
that-
dumb shit.
you're being
Also,
told
you guys
that
have
your
a
family will be sacrificed for that. Not like, "Oh, you killed me. Stop."
My controller was lagging.
I'm
Battery
gonna
power's
throw.
bad.
I'm gonna throw this weapon that I know the entire description of.
Yeah, it's just come on, guys. When you're stooping to Ubisoft level of marketing, you really need to back off.
The first marketing was so much better, where they didn't take themselves seriously and they were just being funny. And I was like, "Dang it!"
My only downside to this is like I ended up giving up my PlayStation Plus or whatever it's called now because they jacked it up like another $40 a year. And I was like, okay, I'm not playing it that much. I'm not using it. So I just stopped. So anytime they show like a lot of the multiplayer, I'm like, that's not going to be me. You're going to have to do something really nice for me to get back into it. Now, the next game I am definitely getting, and I am super happy for
I'm
it.
so getting this.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2, October 20th, 2023, with the updated Peter face, no matter how much Rachel hates it. So you can swap between Miles and Peter on the fly, but Peter does have to have that face, and I'm just going to keep hammering that home.
I'm just gonna be like, the mask stays on.
Patch it. They will make a mod. Don't worry.
Well, that's when it releases on PC, but this will be on PS5.
Yeah, it doesn't help me on my PS5.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it's
Join
okay.
us, Rachel.
It's okay.
Join the PC master.
I mean, I have a really good PC, but I'm just not gonna play.
Well, they have to release it for it, and they're not going to do that for at least
Spider-Man
a year.
faceplates and Spider-Man controller and Spider-Man.
Listen, okay, I'm
like
really
how
excited
those
for
look.
this game. Spider-Man, he's my favorite. He's my favorite Marvel superhero. He will always be my favorite Marvel superhero.
There you go.
And I will play this game. Will I be happy about the stupid Tom Holland?
I'm telling.
Not even Tom Holland. It's Tom Holland.
Oh.
Peter face. I hate it so
You
much.
have Tom Holland. You have Tom Holland at home.
Yeah, it's Tom Holland. Exactly.
Tom
There you
Holland.
And so, but I will of course be excited to hear Yuri
Maker's
Lowenthal
Mark
again.
Spider-Man.
So Yuri Lowenthal Spider-Man again. It's gonna be good. I liked everything that I saw in the in the trailer, and the fact that there's over 65 costume combinations with like different color combos in the game itself to unlock or purchase. Now notice they say unlock or purchase. You can unlock them all like on their own, or you can purchase stuff.
Has that been confirmed?
That's what it's.
Yeah, they're.
Then why would you buy the digital deluxe?
Well, the digital deluxe has 10 costumes that are only available through that, which
There we
they have
go.
not announced any way for people to get it.
They might
So-
release it later for purchase, possibly, but there's probably a timed thing.
I've always been kind of iffy about that because, like, I get doing like digital deluxe editions, but tying, like, I'm okay with when they do like early release, like, hey, you get to play it early because you're getting it digitally for this version, while they're shipping out the discs. That's what happened with Starfield. I got to play it about almost 5 days early because they were still getting the physical copies out, so I got to do that. But I didn't get something nobody else would eventually get. I'm not sitting there going like, hey, I can do this and you'll never be able to because you didn't get it.
They did show off the Spider-Man 3 costumes in there, so you can be emo Peter.
Yeah. I am so just excited for it. It all looked really good. I liked the web wings.
Yeah, it was nice to see that come back from the comics. That was a feature that I didn't see much more.
They referenced it in the first Spider-Man Insomniac game. They it was a thing that you could find in one of the backpacks that was hidden in the city, and he's like, yeah, the web wings. I never quite figured that out. And it was just a throwaway line that he said when you find these things, and I'm just like, I wonder if they're going to bring that in the next game. So my goal is before the game releases to finish, the rest of the DLC of the first game, which I never played. And then the Miles game, which is comparatively very short. So
I'm pretty sure Spider-Man on PS4 was the first PlayStation game I ever platinumed. And then
I'm not going to platinum
with the
it.
extra
I will
version.
say that. I'm not going to
That's how much I
platinum
loved it.
Like, I'm not going to platinum it because I will not do all the Taskmaster challenges and get those high scores. I'm sorry, I will not.
I did it.
But I'm really looking forward to it because I love Spider-Man so much.
Those games are so well done. Insomniac does an absolutely phenomenal job for it. Like, if it's going to be stuck to one system, at least they've got a really good developer really digging in and making it a worthwhile title that I love.
Does this mean they make less Ratchet and Clank games? Yes, but that's okay with me.
If it must be done.
If sacrifices must be made, and the last Ratchet and Clank game was really good, so they can take a break as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Chris, how are you on Spider-Man?
Not really big into it. I have the first one on PC. I'm just going to be patient. They will eventually mod it, so you don't have to look at
he's hoping that the rumors are true that Venom is playable, so he can just eat people.
I'm expecting a message from Chris a while from now, once it gets on there, with a mod that is on PC.
Check this out.
And he just sends me a screenshot of it, and I'm my first thing will be like, thank you. I have been avenged, but also I am upset that you.
Thank you for the Ham Talent patch.
The first mod is going to be one of those that's so quickly put together. It'll literally be like somebody went and took screenshots of his face on PS4 and just cut it out and keep like almost like a picture over his face. As you turn, it just changes the perspective.
Check it out, guys. It's like Andrew Garfield.
Like that one scene in Deadpool where it's Hugh Jackman's face on the magazine.
Stapled to his face. Yes.
Oh man.
Lord. So I'm excited. Like Spider-Man's definitely, I'm getting that the day it comes out. I wanted to get the controller and if possible the shell for the system, but they were just gone. The shell, I could never even had a chance. I think it was online only. The controller, I had a chance for a little bit, but I was broke.
I'll send you the links. They keep coming back up.
Oh, that's one of the few I considered. I was like, I like how that one looks. So, all right. After that, we had Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn coming November 9th, 2023. So this apparently requires the original to play. Yep. So this is just a DLC, not a new game.
It is
I was very confused on that.
Game, it said on the bottom in the dead font known as cursive, requires the original to play.
That is such a Tales of series move, by the way. It requires the original to play. That is so them. That is a very them move. Also, Tales of Arise is damn good if you have not played it already. If you're unfamiliar with the Tales games, that's okay. This one was made to bring new people in and not be as what I like to call Tales centric. It's got a lot of like Tales stuff that is like very like.
Should I be drinking every time you say Tales?
Yes,
you'll die.
Please don't.
It's got like mechanics and overtones and weird references and stuff that are just part of that series. None of the games have anything to do with each other except Exilia 1, Exilia 2, Symphonia 1, Symphonia 2. So the fact that they're doing DLC for this is just really, really cool to me. And it's just an excellent game. It was gorgeous. The music is great. They did some different stuff with this game that they hadn't done in Tales games before. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm looking forward to playing it.
So is this tied to like I remember the older ones I played before, like Tales of Symphonia? Okay, so it is part of the same series. I was never sure because like Tales just seems like
it's they consider
such
it
a generic name.
It's Bandai Namco, and they call it the Tales of franchise because it is a franchise.
So Tales of Borderlands.
It's got. I mean, it's all the way back to Tales of Fantasia.
Gotcha.
So it's very, very like long-lived series, and very one of the biggest things in the game is this thing called skits, where as you're wandering around, you'll have the option to press like before the controller has now completely different. I don't remember what the button is now for Tales of Arise for skits, but it would be the select button on the older PlayStation consoles. So you would get the option to press select when you were walking around, and there would be this little title, and up on the screen you would get these little like portrait versions of the characters, and they would be talking to each other. older games, they were not fully voiced. They're now fully voiced now, but it would be like these little side scenes, and usually they were hysterical or really emotional. It was just ways to fill in the story as you're walking around doing stuff, so that it didn't feel as grindy. There was still some story stuff going on, and then sometimes it was just completely random to just kind of break up the monotony. And that's what I always really liked about it, because you could be walking down a random road trying to get 3 items at like a collection point for like
Right.
grass. Like it had like sparkling like grass where you could collect like items from, and you had to like keep going around looking for these things as part of a side quest. And then sometimes as you were walking around, you're like, oh, a skit. Okay, this is a nice break from the monotony of me finding 3 things. So
Right.
that's why I like this. But they haven't really done DLC for Tales, not really anyway, other than like costumes or dungeons. So the fact that this is story DLC is really cool to me. So
Okay. I think the last thing, like, is this series, are they connected, or is it just like Final Fantasy, or so like they're all just different new stories in the series?
So
Just
they're
general question.
So yes, but no. Like obviously
Okay.
Symphonia 1 and Symphonia 2 are connected, Xillia 1 and Xillia 2 are connected. Tales of Zestiria and Berseria are connected. They're in the same universe, but they're many, many, many years apart.
Gotcha. All right. Steven or Chris, anything about this one before we move on?
Well,
There's
I
a
have
lot
a
of
friend who
tales.
is huge into the series,
It's
so
so good.
yeah, and the battle style is pretty interesting, but it looks like it can get a little confusing at times, much
And-
like Xenoblade does, where you see
Oh, yeah.
a bunch of attacks, everybody screaming at the same time, and a whole bunch of numbers.
Yeah, it's
I'm really feeling it.
It's the active time battle system, and how they handle it changes slightly with each game. One of my favorite ones, actually, which in the community, this is people's least favorite one, but I was really into the one called Grace's F, and they had a move called the circle dodge, which you could dodge in a circle around the enemy, and sometimes very fast, so you could avoid their attacks that way. And I got so used to being able to do this that when I played the next Tales game and it wasn't in there, I had to like change how I played the game completely, because I had like
Ooh.
mastered the circle dodge. And I can still hear like audio call outs of attacks sometimes. Anytime I talk about Grace's F, I hear one of the characters' voice like in like that narration in my brain that is like Dance of the Damned, instant vols. Like literally, that's literally what happens every time I
You
talk.
don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yes, exactly. But it's good. I recommend it. But
Steven, any thoughts?
What?
It's Tales.
It's Tales.
It's Tales.
I own them all for no apparent reason, and I've never played one of them yet. I have them all still in their boxes. And
True sign of a
Steven.
collector. I have all of them. Have you played them yet? No.
I have a sealed Destiny 1 and 2, and I don't even know how they play.
That's great. I know and respect
Shame
that.
on you, sir.
Collectors.
Shame on
I
you.
only have a handful of
Man.
unopened games, but I have
I was like,
versions
oh,
of
I'll play this. It's on PlayStation. I'll play this. It's on PS2. I'll play this. It's on GameCube. No. No.
All right. Well, next up we had Honkai Star Rail coming October 11th, 2023. I don't really know anything about this one. I know that I think this is another one that's gonna be a big hit from the whole Unity thing. Between this and Genshin Impact, I guess both of them are really big, popular
This
games.
is Genshin in space, or you could say actually Genshin is Honkai Star Rail in Hyrule, because I think Honkai came first.
Oh.
I need to know more about that first name because I keep mispronouncing it Honky.
Honky.
Thank you.
Yeah, Honky.
So I'm always like, Honky Star Rail. And I'm like, that sounds like a stage from new Sonic game or something.
It's the same kind of thing. I think it originated in mobile, where it's
Yeah.
just a bunch
Yeah.
of gotcha waifus that you
And then
can
it's supposed
unlock.
to have, like Rachel said, it actually has in this game. It's supposed to have funny skits too.
Oh Lord. So following this, we had Foamstar's open beta party starting September 29th to October 1st, or otherwise known as Square Enix's sad attempt at ripping off Splatoon. I don't care how many modes or differences, this is Splatoon without actual fun or good music.
Failstar.
The first thing
Oh.
I thought about was when this was announced was
Mhm.
I thought about a story I heard from work about how there used to be bubble parties. And I went, what? And that's all they told me. And I go, what is this? What does that mean? What's a bubble party? No context whatsoever, no explanation. And then a couple of weeks later, this was announced. This was when this was first announced, by the way. And I went, is that what it looks like? That was my...
Is it?
And
Is it free? I forget. Is it free?
I don't think so. I think
don't
it's
know.
a paid game.
It's
I
probably
mean,
going to be free to play, so you're probably going to have to unlock stuff. But don't quote me because I did not watch the thing. But yes, bubble parties, they happen in nightclubs, like DJ stuff, where they basically spray bubble foam across like a dance floor, that kind of thing, and then everybody gets all sudsy.
It sounds so hysterical.
Oh, it's dumb as crap. And the reason they do it in nightclubs because everybody's already drugged out by then.
And they're
They're
gonna
like,
be...
this is the coolest thing ever, man.
honestly, they probably do it because it's the only way they can clean the place, but also make money off people partying. So,
You know, that's not wrong. I will give you some context that I found out later after the show. So
okay.
You
Well-
know, though, it's kind of like when you hate a certain food and everybody says, "Did you try it?" I am probably going to try the open beta just so I can say
That you tried it?
I can't wait for the Fizzle Sales DLC or the...
Well, once again, this falls into I'm not going to play it because I don't have PlayStation Plus because I don't want to pay that extra $40. So that kind of kills it. It's multiplayer. But they have 2 gameplay modes available: Smash the Star, which is defeat the star player to win, and they have Happy Bath Survival. Dominate with teams of 2 with support from players on the outside.
I'll like Happy Bath Survival.
Dominate with teams of 2 with support from the outside.
Of course,
Okay.
I'm just picturing somebody, 2 people in a bathtub, just rowing across the sea of foam.
If only we had that soundboard right now to be like, doom, doom, doom.
Got rid of that one, yeah. You have 8 characters to choose from, which of course they're all overly stylized, anime
They look
style
very
characters.
Fortnite-y to me at
So
first.
the overly stylized thing made me think of ARMS.
Oh.
ARMS at least was weirdly creative because there were people with like oddball springs and odd
you-
things like
Bungee
that.
cord arms.
I think it lends itself that somebody should look up the names of those 8 characters because it bears repeating.
Oh God, I
Okay,
will look
this is
that
on
up.
you, Jeremy.
All right. My initial thought, Foam Stars, so basically Foam Stars to Splatoon is like PlayStation All Stars to Smash Brothers Ultimate. And then these characters look like they were like, hey, those Splatoon characters with all their outfits are great. Let's take that, get rid of all the creativity, get rid of the ability to change into squids and actually use the foam creatively, and we'll say it's good.
Give them surfboards instead of squids.
Oh God. Let's see here. Because like the names were so weird, that's why I didn't even list it. I was like, oh, to hell with this. So we have Soa, Agito, which is with a triangle.
I'm sorry. We have to go back.
Tonics.
We have to go back to Soa because I was like Mawage.
Maui.
Maui.
Such a great movie. It's one of my favorites. Jet Justice,
Penguin.
Penguin.
I kind of like that one.
Rave Breaker,
That sounds like a martial arts move.
the Baristador,
I kind of like
and
that
Mel
one, too.
T. Like
Hmm.
MEL space T.
The Lost Spice Girl.
The Lost Spice Girl.
Just
I was like, why are some of the names like hardcore, like Jet Justice, Rave Breaker, and then you have Melty and Penguin?
the Baristador is what kills me. looks like a coffee guy. I'm like,
the guy
really?
looks like the barista there looks like he escaped out of Blonde Wonderland or World.
Oh,
That'll be the
Christ.
special one with the optional Starbucks DLC.
Wait for it.
Yeah, you just get to buy the green apron for your character.
I'll wait for the half and half update.
God. So yeah, I know I'm a little hard on this one, but I mean, this is Square not being really creative. Like this
Imitation
they
is
are
not
trying to
always the
imitate
most sincerest form of
hardcore.
flattery.
Yeah. So the last thing they had to announce is another one from Square, but this
Little
one
one.
didn't look as bad. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming February 29th, 2024. I love how they're pushing the on 2 discs as a big marketing thing, going like, yeah,
We're going back to the dark ages of the PS1.
right. You know, they're going to be like a day one update that's going to make those discs useless anyways, other than a general install.
Is this the first game that's ever been released on a leap year?
I don't know. That's kind of a weird thing to have that on February 29th.
So okay. The on 2 disc thing just made me think of the you remember how with PC games, like at one point there was an install disc and there was a play disc. So one disc you would use for installation and one disc you would use to play it. What if it's that? What if it's that?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think part of they're also trying to push back to the original Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation because it was on like 4 CDs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
Someone
they're trying to
ask Square Enix if those discs are all you need to play the game.
Chris is having so many thoughts right now. I could just see it
I'm
in
curious.
his eyes.
Like I'm wondering.
I want them to say, you do not need to install anything. Just put the discs in and you can play. Just like Final Fantasy VII. Say it, Square!
That's what I'm curious about.
Cowards.
But I mean, we'll see. Now, what was interesting, this was not during the State of Play. This was on a later trailer that they released because I looked and they did not mention anywhere on this. But on the later trailer, it says PS5 exclusive until May 29th, 2024.
Because then we get the Switch 2 version.
Well, that's some people are theorizing about the Switch 2. I think we'll get a PC announcement or something. But that's only 3 months. I know the original one was like a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if Sony's
they want to
not
get Baldur's Gate 3 again.
Well, that was, Microsoft ended up doing that by, that whole deal. But
so
I'm kind of curious if they're just not willing to pay what they paid, because that came out during all the court hearings of, not the exact amounts, but they paid to keep Final Fantasy VII remake off of the Xbox specifically. So I don't think it'll come to Xbox. I think they're going to keep that, but I think we might get a PC version way sooner than we did prior. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I'm showing off all the mini games. That was pretty neat.
Yeah. So when I watched
it, looked good.
When I watched it, I was in my car in a parking lot because I was running errands after work, and the only reason I watched
you could play your Switch there.
Shut up,
Jeremy. Give it a rest.
The only reason I watched it when I did was I got a message from a friend like earlier in the day. You need to watch this as soon as possible because there's a particular point you're going to lose your damn mind at. And I was just like, okay, are you going to give me context? And they said, no. And they go, actually, there's 2 parts that you will probably lose your damn mind at. And then he goes, and it's not Zach because you already know about Zach. And I go, okay, yeah, I do. And he's like, and I hope his voice is less annoying for you. And I go, oh man, I hope they gave him that note. I hope that came up as people think your voice is annoying. Can you try a little harder not be? Sorry, voice actor dude. He's very nasally. I'm sorry. I don't like it.
Me, Gongaga.
Me, Gongaga. Like that's literally me, Gongaga. It's all in here. It sounds gross. But like, and so I go, okay. So I'm watching it, and the first thing I see is the first thing that gets me is Cloud on a Segway, and I had to pause it, and I was like, what is happening? What I said, and somebody messaged me later, like after all that, I think it was like late at night, and I get a message, and it's literally them going on a Segway, and I go, listen, this is peak Final Fantasy silliness. Okay,
time
This
out
is
on that.
fine.
Did you see the meme about the Segway with Sephiroth, where
Yes,
clouds on
I
the
did.
on the
Yes,
clouds
it's
on
a
the
taller
Segway?
one.
Sephiroth is on one that's like super
Super
long
tall,
neck, like his sword, with him way up in
and
the air.
Aerith is impaled.
Oh, I didn't see that version. This was just them.
Yeah, no, someone slapped
It
Aerith
got
like
worse.
sideways on there, and I
Amazing.
laughed for 5 minutes. But then, of course, the thing I really lost my mind over was, of course, Vincent, and them not even showing Vincent.
Matt Mercer.
Like literally is who dares disturb my slumber. And then one of my friends goes, why didn't they show his face? And I'm like, well,
Because it's going to be the Peter Parker face from the new game. And Rachel's upset now. I'm sorry.
Good night, everybody.
I think we broke Rachel.
You better not. No, I don't think so.
That'd be a great mod.
So someone was like, I don't know why they didn't show his face. And then another one of my friends was like, it's because he's too hot. They wouldn't be able to handle it. And I was just like,
Not enough polygons for Vincent.
You already have
Beautiful
that.
face.
like they don't have the current technology required. And I was like, oh Lord. And I was like, it comes out in February. I hope they do. But no.
So, Chris, have you seen the trailer?
I have not.
So I'm going to next time you want to, I'm going to show it to you because there's one particular scene that I'm surprised people haven't extracted from the trailer, and it's when the two big guys, Mr. One Winged and Mr. Head Problems, are both fighting together, and they do like a quick cut by, and Sephiroth is making the cutest ooh face you've ever seen in Square history, and I'm like, he looks like he's ready to like beat up Steamboat Willie. I was like, what is that face he made?
So
show me and I will meme it later.
So I'm laughing about this because I'm just like, oh no, I mean the man uses like a whole gallon of shampoo on his hair. So
it's during the trailer the first time when they're fighting and they're crossing each other, and then he like looks back and smiles at Cloud, and I was like, who, what?
Listen,
okay.
Sephiroth is, as the ladies would say, he is baby girl. He is baby
I'm
girl.
Make that my profile picture on something.
He's the angriest mama's boy you ever saw.
The angriest mama's boy you ever saw.
But two interesting things I thought about the press release, though. One, they said that if you want, you can just play this game as a standalone.
Okay.
Well, you pretty much have to, is what they said, because they did announce that they will not allow any of the saves to cross over. Not just like levels, but like any... Because I know they won't do the levels, so people get overpowered and stuff, but like it has no...
They did say there will be some rewards for people who did play Remake. Like, so they're going to do kind of...
It has to be the PS5 version. It has to be on the PS5.
Okay.
So this is going to be like, there have been game series where they've done this, like Zenith Saga, where you go from 1 to 2 to 3, you don't get your levels back, but you get bonus material relegated from the other games.
Yeah, so if you have a save file from there, regardless of whether you completed it or not, there should be some kind of thing. Like, so for example, I'm going to bring back the Tales game. So in the Tales games, there's a few of them where when you play them, if you have save files from other Tales games on your console, it'll be like, thank you for playing the Tales of series. Here's a bunch of costumes or a bunch of items. So there's stuff. And
there's
it's
a little
bit.
The only thing that's weird about this is all supposed to be like, it feels like they're taking one game and milking it for everything they can. Like, you imagine, like, you're basically saying, like, I played through Final Fantasy VII Disc 1. Well, it doesn't get to carry over to Disc 2. But I played through 1. 2 should continue it. Which I know they're not going to for all of it, because people would level the living crap out of the first one. But
people would have used it.
Some of the confusion, like, Jeremy played it on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
He played through it, he bought it, he got it when it originally came out. But now he's going to have to get a save on his PS5, but I can't find anywhere if the PS4 version counts. Or if he has to go back and find the PS5 version.
Well, you can't even upgrade the PS4 to 5. So
yes,
that's what I'm saying. He has to go buy it. Well, even if you upgrade it, you can't get some of the DLC.
No, the saves can't go 4 to 5. They're like, no. For Intergrade especially, they're like, no. Because
they've been very confusing on some of that stuff.
because they're pulling a Kingdom Hearts, which makes me say, like, I guess I'll wait until 2032 because they're doing a double pack of remake and rebirth. So I was like, so why don't I just wait for the story thus far?
What? So like I'm confused because I picked up my save of the PS4 one when I upgraded because it was auto upgraded for the PS5. Like I still got it when it was free, the upgrade. If that makes sense.
It might be. I think what I'm getting confused is it might be because the PS Plus version you can't do anything with. The one they give you for free you can't do anything with, but the one you bought you can.
Yeah. So, but
which Sony likes to be confusing.
But I have the PS5 version and I was able to use my same save. But
the last thing I want to take from their press release that everybody thought was really funny is that they tell you, oh, the story will unfold more dramatically than ever before, blah, blah, blah. We know fans are dying to see one scene in particular.
Lord.
So it's like, yep.
Well, what really got me was one of my friends like, oh, Vincent's showing up now. That was their thought. And I said, well, the timelines are all screwy. And I said, and I was like, did you play Integrate? Because they're a big Vincent fan. And they said, no, I didn't. I said, you should, because you played Dirge of Cerberus and you understand that game and the consequences of it. And then what it relates to in the previous parts of the series, and Integrate turned a lot of that on its head. So they're going to get back to me on that, like, because the timeline's all screwy. I'm like, Deep Ground is already back with Shinra, and they're not doing whatever they're doing underground with Genesis. So what?
Yeah,
what's happening?
I still have the issue with this whole series. I think their biggest mistake in regards to it was naming the first one Remake.
Why?
Because it's not a remake.
But that's not.
It's a reimagining, but remake.
But it's not anymore. That's just a word describing the.
It's
overall.
It's a play on
Your
words.
Door is a remake.
No, it's a play on words, Jeremy. It never meant remake. Like it never meant that.
But when you market it as that,
a lot of people would have considered that to be what it meant,
and everybody did.
That's what I thought it was.
That was
they're talking about like this is
Direct came out. I'm going to call it a Direct. I don't care. When Final Fantasy Direct came out and gave you the naming convention, then it became clear that remake was a play on words because it was remake, rebirth, and rehash. I don't know, but I forget what the third one was. But they all had re in.
But they didn't name that until way later. Like the version of everything I saw was for remake was. We're doing a remake of Final Fantasy VII. I was like, oh, cool.
Yes,
like they'll have some changes to it, but like then they're like, oh, we completely changed the time and there's all this stuff involved. And I'm like, that's not a remake. That's you're reimagining it, which you could name it anything else. And I'd be like, I get that.
Guys, that was the point. It was a red herring. It has always been a red herring.
That is the stupidest thing they could do. And that's exactly what killed it for me.
No, it's not. They call it that one because if they call it a remake, that is getting people in that wanted a remake. So one, it's a marketing thing. Two, remake. It's remaking your fate, remaking the story, remaking the entire.
And they needed to be clear on it because even
why?
as much
it's sold.
They were.
It didn't sell me because I had the understanding of a remake.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what this is? This is Metal Gear Solid 2. You like Snake? There's Snake. Oops, all right. That's what this is.
Yeah,
they did.
They explained the naming convention in their Final Fantasy Direct. So that's when the red herring was put to rest. It says, like, this is what we meant to say, what each one stands for.
Yeah,
but like she said, they
not
got
saying
everybody,
it's right.
They
but
got everybody in with the word because everybody loves that word.
Yeah.
And then at the Direct, they were like, this means the remaking of the story. This is the rebirth of the one-winged idiot.
See, I didn't hear about any of that stuff until reviews are coming out, and they're like, "Yeah, it completely changed the story." And I'm like, "What do you mean it changed the story?"
But
like, I get redoing some of it in the remake, but
it didn't. It just turned things on its head. Like I knew that from the moment. So the moment that they announced what the title of the first installment was, I literally said to a friend of mine who got me into Final Fantasy, my friend Cassie, I said, this name is not going to mean what we think it means. And the reason...
See, usually when you use a word in the English language, you generally use it as that word, especially when you call it a remake of it. Like,
okay, let me like it. Let me
wait.
get you back to...
Hold on a second. Are you telling Square about naming conventions when from the dawn of time, cure meant to heal and heal meant to cure?
Not only that, but if they called this Final Fantasy VII Episode 1, that would have been inviting disaster.
It would have been.
No game called Episode 1 has ever finished.
Yeah.
all I'm saying is,
I'm still waiting,
for me personally, with
Smash,
everything I
Smash
saw,
Pack Volume 2.
everything that I saw, naming it remake set the expectation of something completely different. I like the idea of what they're doing. Don't get me wrong. I do think that's good. I personally feel that was the misstep that killed it for me, because everything that I saw was led to believe it being a remake of the story. So I expected, just like all the other games that get remade, they're going to have some twists and turns on it, not completely change it, and apparently involve time travel or whatever the hell it was that people were telling me about it.
I
And
mean,
I'm like,
it's not time travel.
The thing is,
Well,
it was essentially a
that's
roll
what I
of the
mean.
dice.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted people to go in thinking, cool, this is going to be exactly like what I thought. And then when it wasn't, they were hoping for you to go, okay, I'm kind of upset, but I want to know what happens
Yeah,
next.
and that's exactly what people were.
We'll
Not
take
everybody.
a movie like Batman Hush, or even Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Two movies that were supposed to be remade from their original books, where we had the expectation when I bought them of being versions of that retold in this new format. And then they completely broke the entire story, changing the characters and what happened and everything, to the point of like, what the hell is this? Why did you do that? But they were marketing it as being the telling of this story. And that's what kind of made those the two worst Batman films I've ever seen as a fan of those. So it kind of felt like that. Like, if they could have named it anything else, I would have like, okay, cool. That'll be some new Final Fantasy VII thing they're going on with it.
Well, I have a question though, because I'm trying to prove myself wrong for once. There isn't a game in existence that ever put the word remake in the title.
Okay.
So
when Final Fantasy did it, it's because it didn't mean remake. It was a play on words, Rachel said, because no game has ever just said it's in the title. It's a remake. They just call it
remake.
Dead Space. They just call it the reignited trilogy of Spyro.
I remember, like, when they were first showing it off, they were showing scenes that still stuck with the original Final Fantasy VII game. They didn't hint at changes. They made it look like, hey, here's the original game looking like this now, and
that was the hook.
Yeah. I also have a different experience with this. Well, first off, let me remind you that Square has been using weird naming conventions for games for a number of years, and I want to remind you that Tetsuya Nomura is on the dev team, and he has really weird naming conventions for Kingdom Hearts. So the fact that they had a little subtitle under Final Fantasy VII, that was my first indicator. I was like, oh, we got this weirdo on the dev team who I love to death. This is not gonna go the way you think it is, and I don't think they changed a lot with the characters. They didn't. The spirit of the characters are still there. They're all still behaving essentially the same, for the most part.
It breaks the entire story where characters survive past where they're supposed to be. Time changes for
it's
chunks of the story. I was like,
yes, but no. Okay, so I think you're converging timelines. So the whole thing where Zack coming back on that like on the hill and them on the hill, those are two separate there's a lot of weird timeline stuff that they're two separate times, two separate universes, two separate things. The only two people at this moment that we know of in the game that are aware that there's all of this weird fate timeline thing going on are Aerith and Sephiroth, because Sephiroth, the one that they fought in the weird thing, is the one that was coming and trying to change things. That's why Cloud was seeing him everywhere, and that kind of stuff. It's it's almost like he exists outside of time as some kind of weird entity. But the whole point of it was, honestly, I think, is for them, this gives Square the opportunity to tell the story
They always wanted
the
to
way that they wanted to tell it. After knowing,
I think that's the misunderstanding. If they explained it that way originally, with what I had seen, that would have made sense.
That would have ruined the whole surprise. It would have ruined
then
the
don't
hook.
make it seem like something else.
But they didn't.
Again,
they
this
didn't.
This
That's
is the Metal
thing.
Gear thing again. This was very deliberate.
Yeah.
This was essentially, I just looked it up. I went on Wikipedia and looked up lists of video game remakes and remasters.
Right.
Most of them either say remastered, remixed, redimensioned, Origins, or Ultimate. The only one that deliberately calls itself a remake is Final Fantasy VII, and I think that was very deliberate.
And going with like what Rachel's saying, I can carry that notion into movies. How many remakes of movies, whether you knew it was a remake or not, do not follow the same plot with the characters or change what characters live or die? Are you telling me like you'd prefer like the Frank Sinatra Oceans versus the new Oceans? It's just like,
right.
You know, the one time is just like, okay, that was the original story. Now they're just like, now I'm going to tell like the story perfectly with the book, or am I going to go against the book?
Also, there's
basically like, I have everything that can fit on more than 4 discs. Finally, I'm going to tell you everything.
And this is also kind of what they were trying to achieve with the saga when they released Crisis Core, when they released Dirge of Cerberus, and also Dirge of Cerberus with the secret scene at the end of the end credit things ended on a cliffhanger. We don't know what happened after that. So this is their opportunity to tell the tales that they wanted to tell, that they did not have the opportunity to do so previously. And but if a game company spells it out for you from the very beginning of what their intentions are with this game,
if you're that deep into the marketing, but general, I don't think they did. But
the way that you were talking about, you know, the remake was, you know, it was misleading. It was purposefully misleading. If they spell it out for you the entire way, that to me, with their intentions and everything, that would be boring. I don't want to know everything that they're going to want to do. Like, I don't want to know what their intentions are. I just want to play the game and enjoy it. Like, ruins the surprise if I know what their intentions are. Like, I don't know where they're going to go with this. I like the speculation. This is probably one of the only like game series that has been coming out like recently that I'm like, oh my God, I want to see what kind of weird shit they're going to do next. Like, what are they going to turn on its head? They've changed stuff, but the spirit of the characters are still the same also. But like, I remember reading in an interview somewhere, or maybe it was in a video, they said something about there are certain fixed points in time that will not change, is what they said. I remember them, someone associated with them saying that. And I think one of the fixed point, of course, is I would assume would be the death of a particular woman. And then also, yeah, poor Tifa. And then also the fixed point of, you know, the whole meteor incident and all that. Those would be the fixed points that I would guess. A lot of other people thought the fixed point being Zack, but it just goes to show you like that happening, but that didn't happen in the same place that our party is in. It is in a different thing, because when at that point when that was revealed, it was a different poster with the dog on it, a completely different dog. So it's a different universe. So there's all kinds of timeline converge things going on, and we don't know what's going to affect what, and if everything's going to come together. We don't know. And that's why I think it's so exciting, because this is so different, like so different. So.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on from that then.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Bit of a diversion.
Good. I'm not saying everybody else shouldn't be excited. I was just airing my issue.
It's one thing for them to reimagine it in a bigger world. I'm just thankful, and I'm pushing for it, even though I hate 7 with a passion, all of it. just as much as I hate 8. But that's me. Because when Square touched 4 and retconned with an epilogue on the GBA and then further muddled with it with the after years, that's not how you tell the whole story. And for them to just be like, we're just gonna just give you a whole brand new slate with the characters you love, I was like, that's how you should have done it, instead of leading me down a path of nostalgia just to throw it at me that even though this plays the same graphics, new things happen that you're not gonna like.
I am kind of in Jeremy's camp for this one because I personally would have loved Final Fantasy VII as it was with what we have now.
Well, guess what? That's what you apparently get in Ever Crisis.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
That's completely bombed. And I mean, I'm not talking about like a beat for beat has to be the exact same thing. But
It's actually
either way, I kind of feel like this argument's not really going anywhere.
Really,
so
it's fun.
Yeah, we
it's
can
really fun.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up this lovely episode, number 101 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network. But before we go, we'll go ahead and let everybody know where we can find you on the internet. And Rachel, we shall start with you. Where can we find you online?
You can find me on the website formerly known as Twitter, and the Threads, which now has a desktop version.
About time.
And Instagram. All those are under Outrageous. That's OUT_RACHEOUS. And then you can also find me on Twitch. Occasionally. I was streaming quite a bit for a while, but then, I got busy again, and it happens. And there's no AC at my house. And even if I plan to stream tomorrow, I will not be because it's hot. But you can find me there also under Outrageous, but there's no underscore between the out and the rageous. So that's where I'm at. Be forewarned. Sometimes my content is very sporadic, but it is mostly unhinged. So have fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. All right. Steven, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on X, a newly birthed X.
I'm not calling it that.
At loading_time.
Now that's a bad remake.
You can find me on Blue Sky at N1 Nintendo. So that's Nintendo with a 1 instead of an I. .bsky.social.com, the whole big address. You can find me on the lonely convention floor known as Hive at Nintendo. And then you can also find me on Discord, same thing, Nintendo with a 1, but a period afterwards, because that's all they had left.
Oh, wow. Okay. Next up, Chris, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me in at least 10 of the prior episodes of this podcast. Aside from that, good luck.
You can find him on this screen. Use a snippet.
If you find him elsewhere, buy a lotto ticket.
I did. I lost.
Oh, no.
Look, you get to see him now. Are you happy? That's enough.
I'm right next to Waldo.
There you go. And Carmen Sandiego. All right, I've been your host, Jeremy Powers. You can find me over on my Linktree, which is just the whole Linktree address at Zenspath. Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads is at zenspath.com. Twitter, Hive, and Discord are at Zenspath. And then, of course, twitch.tv/Zenspath for whenever we're streaming some of our shows and other stuff there. And then if you're listening to the audio version of this, you can find the video version, which, yeah, you can see Chris this time. It's freaky. At youtube.com/ZenspathCom. And if you're watching this and just want to go back because you're uncomfortable seeing Chris and want to just listen
Thank
to
you
it,
for that.
you can find it at zenspath.libsyn.com. And no, we love seeing Chris. It was really funny and I couldn't skip that joke. But this has been episode 101 and we're out. Peace.
Ninja finish.
Bye.